what exactly are we talking about tonight?
Let's start with NFL, and then we have some NBA.
Okay.
For NFL, we're going to talk more in incognito. That's going to be our big story.
No Rodgers. That's a big story.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
don't.
quarterbacks and stuff and coaches. And
Okay.
But we'll bring up quarterbacks. We'll talk
Yeah,
about our rookies and quasi-rookies and everything.
I was going to say that, his little thing on Wednesday,
yes,
but I was like...
You can't.
Well, yeah. No, I didn't, say it completely. I was just going to kind of paraphrase on what he said.
Right.
Oh, shit. God, it's terrible.
Well, I mean, we can bring up Rodgers getting hurt when we talk about our...
And apparently they're going with Seneca. They're really not making any change. Which, they have a little social out there. They got beer.
But we can talk about it, like, when we talk about our look at last week.
Yeah.
We'll bring it up then. That's fine.
Yeah, you're in charge of the show, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, we can bring it up because I'm sure you'll want to talk about it anyway. So.
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Just, we don't have to be fully in depth on it.
I mean, we can be, like, that was a surprise. Because there was only a game this last week that had 2 winning records, if you knew that.
Yeah. Yep, I didn't know that.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll talk about...
and really, you look at it, and it's probably the only game right now that both teams are still over 500.
We'll talk about Texans and Broncos coaches. Yeah.
Going in your backpack.
What?
Going into your backpack.
Yay. And then I found this fun story where a wife and a husband made a bet on the Bears and Packers game, right? And the wife lost the bet, so the husband tasered her. And we're going to talk about that
because he was charged with a felony.
Yeah, because let's just talk about if we get time.
Yeah.
That's one we can cut.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was
just
really interesting.
kind of like one of those random stories
just like,
that you're
why
like,
would
what?
you do this? The wife's
Especially
like, I didn't think
agree
he
to be
would.
tased.
I know. The wife's like, I didn't think he'd actually do it. And you're like, yeah, smart one, wifey.
We have a forthcoming, as I tried to tell you twice.
I know. I didn't think I needed to answer. I'm quite capable of reading.
Well, sometimes you just miss things, so.
I was on the phone with my dad.
What'd you say, Josh?
I should really talk to my dad. I haven't talked to him in like a week.
What did you say, Josh?
Telling you
I
came in, you said,
James.
oh, he's coming? Sweet.
And then we have
He doesn't know
NBA.
hockey either, but fuck it
We'll
all.
be talking hockey today as
Who
well.
cares?
What?
You told me to research hockey, and I looked at it, I'm just like, I don't care about any of
I don't
this.
care if you don't care about it. Why were you in my bag?
Calculator.
Oh, did you get it out?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I just
Gonna
took all
give
your
it to
money.
you.
I was
No.
just like, fuck
Yeah,
it all.
by the way,
I was going to give it to
I learned from Josh that you're dating somebody.
you. Yeah.
How do you not know these things?
I thought we had a
didn't
good
think I had it.
relationship.
I don't
Cheater, you
Okay,
lying sack of
okay.
shit.
Okay, so we go from hockey to college,
You lying sack of shit.
and then from college,
I never lied. Well,
we
it was
only
you
have
this
like
time.
2 stories, and he's the one that wants to know the script and he keeps leaving. You keep leaving!
Cool, get your shit
He's
together.
the one that thinks we have such a good relationship. You're the one that leaves me all the
Hey,
time.
you know what you can do?
What?
You can fill out a form for once.
What's
I
going on?
can't.
No.
There's a speaker.
Yes, and we're gonna bless you, and we're gonna be like, yeah, we're all legit.
No.
Yes.
Turn
We're
it
gonna
down.
go. No, we're gonna go a little bit higher than that.
Because, like, there's
They're not
socials
really
from 5 to
good.
6, and then it's
they're
dinners
having
from
beer.
6 to 7.
You can
They
get
have
beer.
beer, wine.
They have beer, wine,
And it's for
cookies,
free,
and
to be
cheese
honest.
and crackers.
It's free.
You go.
Yeah, if
It's
you want to
legit.
go get a beer,
Hey,
grab
I
one.
You know it's legit when they have cheese and crackers.
If you get one, you have to bring me one.
No, because you're not old
They have
enough.
those little rats.
I'd be serving a minor. And then the police
And
would come and be like,
cookies. And cookies.
They don't know. They don't know how old I am. It's fine.
I would actually have to hide my
You're
beer
in
down
charge
here.
of that, by the way.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. Just
Make
start
sure we're on
it.
the
Hi,
shot.
folks.
We're
Oh,
in
wait,
it.
it
It's
is.
already
Yeah.
recording. Just make sure we're on it.
Hey, folks.
What's
How you doing?
website?
I think everybody's in here except for Pool.
What's
I'll move,
Okay.
I'll move over.
Ustream.tv.
There you go, right there. I'll stay right here. Can they
I'll
see
just
me?
kinda chill off in the edge.
Can I see
I'll
me
tag
from
you on
my-
Facebook.
I'm gonna chill off in the middle of nowhere. Hey, everybody excited for practice tonight?
No.
Oh yeah.
I
what
forgot
time's
about that,
Nine?
actually.
9 o'clock now.
So,
What?
I forgot about
Wait.
it.
You use
Yeah, of course you do.
What is your schedule on Tuesday?
/channel /
My schedule?
make
Mhm.
dash.
Oh, I can make the meeting. I just have to remember to do
That's
it.
why
I just have to remember.
5:45 is rec.
Yeah, no. I know. I got the email. Like,
Yeah, I know. I'm just making sure that you're
Yeah.
available, because if you're not, I can make
it
it.
kind of sucks because it'll just be a busy day for me. But whatever. Cause
You can use
I have class
exercise.
from no, I have class from 2 to 5, and then I'll have that meeting, and then I have a meeting in the library at 7, and then we have the game at 9.
Okay.
So it'll just be a busy day.
Oh, okay.
like everything is due.
I hate when that happens.
Yay! Hey, it works now. Not really. Oh.
Why did I lose myself? Good job.
It still doesn't work.
Good job, mate.
It doesn't. Yeah, it kind of.
This is why you're in charge.
Boom.
No, do you think 9 o'clock should give you guys enough time for your meeting?
Well,
Because I was trying to move it because I know you guys have everything at 8 and
Well, yeah.
Kelsey had something at 8.
no,
So-
that was our presentation. I mean, our presentation.
who was it? Was it Courtney? Someone had something else at 8.
Probably
One of the girls. I can't remember what though.
But
That makes
I'm
sense.
hoping to be done by 8:30. But that still means I got to walk to my apartment, change, and then head out, which I could probably be there by 9.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how long this
We'll play
group
your
meeting's
intro,
gonna
so
do.
you guys probably should be ready.
I don't know. As far as like the playoffs go, I know Mitch has already told me like Tuesday the 19th doesn't work for him. And I'm just like,
It's Tuesday or
because
Sunday.
I doubt Sunday will be an option, but you never know. I don't know.
And that's you
I-
who said James?
Mitch. I
Don't
think.
Mitch.
When are the dates for the playoffs?
I don't know.
Good question.
I find out next
That's-
Tuesday.
That's why.
That's why we have a
That's why
meeting.
we need to give him some dates or some days. that we
Yeah.
can do
If
it.
you want to come to the meeting too, more power to you.
I can do that.
So I don't have to keep up with
Gotcha.
everything.
All right, we got 10.
And it'll be sometime within the next week.
I have these close too. Awesome. I don't remember. I don't know where they're at though.
I have Eagles ones like that, but they're too small.
Oh.
And welcome here to Make Your Point. I'm Victoria Harmony, your host for the evening, as we get set for another 2 hours of wonderful sports debates.
Host for the evening?
Yes.
Are you ever not the host?
Well, no, but people might not know.
Yeah,
might- they
just
might think
randomly.
that's
It would be awesome if, like, once I get that board down, just be like, hey, I'm just going to be the host. All hell will
It
break
happens
loose. Okay.
sometimes. But if you're wondering, that was the voice of Josh Earl. Also with us, Nathan Poole, and special
Howdy.
guest, James Hagedorn. I even said it right.
James
Yeah.
is back
Aren't you proud of
on.
me? I said it right.
Good to
this
be
time.
back.
Just call him, like we said, just call him with Thorn.
We've only had you on once, and already we got a bunch of nicknames for you. I call you Horn for some reason.
Horn.
I don't even know why.
Because I called him
Horn.
Higathorn, so you just shortened Horn.
Higathorn.
It's fine.
I'd rather call him Horn than Thorn, because Thorn
And
is
it's
just weird.
Thorn.
Our Ustream is up and rolling. I tagged everybody in it, as well as Make Your Points tag as well. So
Yeah. Just warning, don't let kids watch all that shit.
it's okay, because usually we don't take long breaks. So
Well,
usually
it's-
this one's okay.
It's college and
Don't
adults.
watch on Monday.
It's college students and
Oh,
adults watching our show. They wouldn't want little kids to watch it. They probably wouldn't understand it.
But
Well, I mean-
you don't know.
Let little
Don't
kids
judge.
listen to our on-air stuff, because
There you go.
we're usually clean.
We're
Yeah.
We are
required
clean. We're
to be
required.
clean.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
Usually.
there are certain words we can say and certain words
Unless
we
you're
can't.
James,
who
who
forgot
just lets
to
stuff
remind me to change
Hey.
our cover photos on Facebook.
False.
It's no longer the World Series, but it's okay.
okay.
It's okay.
My bad. It's hard for me to remember everything.
It's okay. I'm just putting our live 365 stream on to Make Your Point so everybody can listen.
Everybody.
Why don't
And
you guys
watch.
tell me about your day while I do that?
I woke up to an email saying my first class was canceled, so I was
Oh,
done.
that's
snake.
So I literally got out of bed at about 2 o'clock.
Oh, God. Wow.
Yeah, it was. Hey. Oh,
Low
that's
blow.
That's low. That's low. Look at that. No
That's-
chode.
It's, oh man, until you said that, I had no idea that I was fat. I can't believe it. No.
Oh, God.
No, it's been a pretty decent day. Went to my class, I take home test. Abnormal Psych was talking about, like, sexual disorders and sexual deviancy, so I tuned out for an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, it was interesting stuff, I guess. That's basically been my day so far.
I am off a night of 2 hours sleep. I'm barely functioning. And practice is not going to be good tonight,
That
Josh,
is
so
Yeah.
I'm going to hate it. That's why I'm
That's
saying
the best
Hey,
way to be
to be
honestly,
fair,
is
hey,
2 hours.
to be fair, I've been feeling,
a little under the weather.
yeah, I'm not feeling so great today, but we're leading our pods, not actively in the pods.
Oh, okay.
So it's not so bad.
I
So I just
felt
have to sit
really
there
bad
and
last
shoot
night.
like over and over again and
And
miss
B, you
over
going
and
to be
over.
there, actually?
I might, probably.
Ah, come on.
Come on, man. It'll be an hour of your time.
This is true.
It might be over an hour. actually.
Homework,
Uh,
you stay
I'll
up till
sign.
5 a.m. in the morning.
This
You're
is
going to
awesome.
get it done.
It'll be like an hour and a
So
half
you did?
overtime.
Yeah.
5 a.m.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
that wasn't like doing homework. That was actually just taking notes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Nice.
You know
Yeah,
what?
5
I
minutes
stayed
not
up
bad. That's
till
what
4
I
o'clock
average,
and
so it's
woke
fine.
up at 6.
I think I went to bed at like 4:30 last night, but I did like the homework I needed to do, and I mean I left some. There were some that I should have done, but I can do it tonight. It's just I'll have to stay awake for it because there's a chapter I have to read for a test tomorrow. But instead of doing that, I stayed up and watched Firefly because that's what I do in my free
I recall
time.
that conversation. So
Yeah,
it's fine.
Firefly's awesome. Like,
I've never seen
don't
it.
lie.
So
I'm gonna make you watch it now.
you're gonna make me watch a
really
lot of
am.
What
things.
exactly?
That's
is
true.
it?
Firefly.
See, he's never
Yeah.
seen it either.
Firefly was
Ah.
a sci-fi, had a cult following. It only lasted like 14 episodes because it got canceled because Fox was stupid like a decade ago.
I know what it
it's
is,
a sci-fi
because-
show about like space cowboys and that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool stuff though.
Yes.
It's got
One of my
it's got Nathan Fillion in it, so
one
it has
of my
to be
good
cool.
friends is like crazy into it, so they have everything.
It-
Like, you have to watch this. I'm just like, yeah.
It has a really loyal cult following.
Oh,
I
really?
know.
Is it like hour episodes?
45 minutes, yeah.
And there's
So
only
they're
14?
There's only 14, and then there's a movie that came several years later that kind of tied it all together because it got like abruptly canceled.
So have you seen the whole thing already?
I have seen the whole thing, but I'm rewatching it because I wasn't paying complete attention when I watched all the episodes. Like, I multitask a lot, so I didn't see all of
So
it.
And it shows.
James, how was your day? You're the one that hasn't said.
Well, I've had a headache for like 2 days. But,
Tylenol?
2 days? That'd be horrible.
Tylenol
well,
will
it
fix
was
that
worse
by now.
yesterday, and I tried to sleep it off.
Did
but,
you get hit in the head or something?
No, it's just...
The basketball hit his head because you threw it at his
Good
head.
job, Josh.
Did I?
No,
Good
that
job.
never
I don't
happened.
remember that at
I don't
all.
even know how it came about.
That day that we were really tired, you got a headache probably right after that, right?
Well,
That was Tuesday, 2 days ago. That's when it started.
I don't know if that's related, but you could link it, I guess.
Hey,
It was an intense practice.
you know, if we were to get like 2-day headaches every time we got hit in the head with a basketball, I would be so messed up at this point.
Concussion-like symptoms.
Pretty much.
CTE.
Yeah, I have been hit in the head a lot with basketballs now. I think about it.
I've gotten hit in the head with basketballs. Several years ago, I got slammed on the back of my head in football. That was fun.
Ouch.
That kind of stuff. I still think I got a concussion from that because I had a headache for like 2 or 3 days.
I almost got
afterwards.
blinded earlier this year by a dodgeball.
Oh, nice.
I couldn't see out my right eye for like an hour. So
That's awesome.
I got a little worried, but then it cleared up.
That's no big deal at all.
All right, V,
You
how was
know,
your day?
as long as you can see one eye.
It's been... I've forgotten to grab something. So, you guys keep talking.
Okay, so, yeah.
How about them
How about
Knicks?
how about Brandon Merriweather's comments of going down low?
Here's the thing. Like I've been doing again with the Sports Nation polls. I'm just.
You and your sports.
I know. Well, they're entertaining. It's like I'm bored. I'm gonna do polls. That's like my reasoning. Here's the thing with his comments about because we're just gonna jump right into sports. His comments basically you have to go low and you have to like tear guys ACLs and that kind of stuff. I do think it needed to be said. But I don't have much problem with it actually. I have a problem with actually doing it and trying to end guys' careers and trying to injure them. But I don't have much.
But
problem.
he makes the point saying like, where can we?
Yeah,
hit
that's
if we
basically
can't hit
that's
up?
what the NFL has gotten to at this point. You know,
Yeah.
people have said like it's the NFL, the no fun league, and that kind of stuff. And I talk about how so much protection is for these offensive players, but there's no protection for defensive players. Defensive players, they're in such a limited zone now. Like unless you can get a guy like in the stomach, basically, you have to go low.
Or actually do a proper tackle and actually wrap up instead of launching yourself at players. That's good. What defensive players are gonna have to do now. They're just gonna have to wrap up because then they won't get the flags thrown. Because if they keep doing it, it's just
And
gonna.
they won't get the
continue
flags
happening.
thrown until offensive players lower their helmets as they do, and then you coincidentally hit your
Yeah.
helmet to a helmet, and it's blamed on the
And
defensive
it's-
player,
yeah.
even though it's the offensive player lowering
And,
their
and
helmet.
that's how the defensive players learned to tackle growing up, because back in the
Not
day...
really.
Not really. Nowadays, it's
Well,
like
nowadays
back in
they-
the day they wrapped up, and they would if they launched. Basically, everybody knew what was happening, and it was usually players that didn't have a whole lot of skill that would launch.
Yeah, I'm saying back in the day, they could go to the head more.
Well,
and
yeah.
They could use their shoulders, but
They-
now they're being taught how to tackle, I guess, properly.
Well, I think nowadays, actually, especially with the younger players, there's been a lot of evidence and research coming out that players aren't being taught the proper ways to tackle. And that's part of the problem. Like in Pee Wee football, you see these kids like launching and getting concussions when they're like 8 years old because they're launching with their heads, and that's how coaches are teaching them to do because that's what the physical game has become nowadays. And you can't do that. You can't if you teach a kid how to do it. That's a habit that he learns, and then it's almost impossible to break that later on.
Yeah.
And really, I don't know about you guys, but what I've been seeing is just secondary is doing it. just because they are trying
That's-
to go after
that's
the
when they have
ball
the
and knock
defense-
down the
That's when
receiver.
they have kind of the defenseless receivers
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
there's not much time for them.
Mhm.
Like when you're up front and that kind of stuff, you at least like you can see the guy. I don't know. It's kind of weird because in the scrum of all of it, like you don't even really like see it. You just kind of go for the body, and you don't really have time to like get down and that kind of stuff. But when you're out in the secondary, you kind of try to you try and man up on them, but then you have these receivers lowering their helmets.
Running right across the middle of the field is kind of tempting.
Yeah, I remember a hit.
The whole Randall Cobb hit.
The random comment. I go back to because I watch some football, but I don't watch a ton of football. There was a hit with Ed Reed and some Steelers receiver last year, where the Steelers receiver obviously lowered his helmet. Obviously.
No, it wasn't Heisenberg. He was out.
No, might have been Brown.
Sanders or Brown, probably.
I think it was
Or
Sanders.
Wallace? No,
I don't
didn't have
know.
Wallace then.
Actually. Yeah,
Then maybe it's
Regardless, make this point.
Regardless.
Continue with their show.
But the receiver obviously lowered his helmet, and Reed had to lower his helmet in defense because he had like a split second. This was within like a half a foot of hitting him, and the guy went down, and Reed got the brunt of the hit, and he was flagged 15 yards for helmet-to-helmet hit. There's nothing you can do in that situation as a defender.
They tried
You
to make
have to, if the receiver lowers their helmet in the secondary in that split second, you have to lower your helmet, or else you're basically going to get helmet to the neck.
they didn't make that rule for running backs this last offseason where they couldn't lower their crown.
Yep.
Isn't that just in the tackle box?
That's outside.
Outside.
Is it outside the tackle?
Yeah, it's
outside the
outside.
tackle box,
Outside.
not inside. Outside.
Yeah, but still receivers can do it, but running backs.
So kind of
Okay.
long story short is that it's just the league is making it harder for defensive players to actually play the game.
It's all in the name of safety,
Yeah.
but also there's so many comments coming out. You know what you're getting into when you get into this league. At the same time, this is a violent game.
Mhm.
There's no way to make it completely safe.
You could
Not
probably
really.
say it's one of the top 2 violent games.
Yeah.
That and hockey.
I mean, what I'd love to see is they get those new. There are these helmets now that have like padding on the inside, like shock resistant, that kind of stuff. They're a little more expensive. The NFL is like a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah,
industry.
they can
I don't know.
afford it.
I don't know why every player doesn't have it already.
Yeah. And more padding overall.
Yeah.
I don't know what's so bad about that.
Or we could just be like rugby players and just be all man.
and just be like,
And just get concussed like every game.
Exactly.
Well, wait,
Broken
that happens
ribs.
anyways.
So, looking at last week, what games interested you? And ESPN's website's being odd, so I'm looking on Google.
ESPN.
go to
Sports.
NFL.com.
I noticed that earlier on ESPN.
Yeah,
Like their
just the
scores
scores
are all,
were
like,
just like really.
Distorted.
Yeah, it's just the scores. Everything else is fine.
Yeah.
You said just what games interested you
Yep,
last?
what games do you guys want to bring
I
up?
was
Each
very-
one?
Yeah.
I have 2.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's why I wasn't looking at it.
Scores are weird.
I have 2.
I'm on Google.
I have 2, but you said go with 1, so I'll go with 1. I'm gonna say the Sunday night game with how the Indianapolis Colts came back 24-6. They were down 24-6 entering the third, and they came back and won it 27-24. And Case Keenum actually had a really good game.
He had an outstanding.
No picks, and he threw 3 touchdown passes to their leading receiver, Andre Johnson.
Mhm.
And just for once, Case Keenum had a great game. He might start this next
Not
week.
even for once. His first game was really good too.
Yeah,
So
he might actually have another start under his belt now coming this week. I don't know if they're going to go back with Schaub or not, but he's got another good opportunity. I'm trying to think who he plays. He plays a
they play the Cards.
Cardinals, yeah, which is not an easy team to beat either.
Not defensively.
Not
at least.
defensively.
That's the Honey Badger.
Oh, that
And
honey
Patrick
badger.
Patrick
Peterson.
Peterson.
So that was my game.
All right, who's next?
Oh, honey badger.
Well, I have a few too, but I think I'm gonna go with Seattle over Tampa because Tampa was up, I think 21-0 in that game,
Yeah,
and they're winless. And I don't know what it shows. Like, is Tampa okay, but they're just
they just can't close.
badly coached, maybe, which everyone's bringing up with Shiano, or is it Seattle's just not as good as people hype them up to be? I know they're
Especially the
good.
run defense.
Yeah, they're good, but they have holes, and people don't talk about it too much. And they were able to come back and win that. But if Tampa almost beats them, this is the NFL though, so anything can really happen. But maybe Seattle isn't the team they're thought to be.
Yeah, when you step on that football field, you have a chance to win that game.
Like Savannah State.
Like
Josh,
Savannah State.
What's your pick?
Interesting game. There was a lot of interesting games
You may
actually.
pick one.
Saints and
Everyone has
Jets.
this one.
What's with Geno Smith? Okay, yeah, now I have a little bit of faith in him.
No.
He earned some respect.
No.
He earned some
Finally.
respect
The
from me.
Mountaineer.
He
That's
went,
fine.
he went like 8 for 19 for just over 100 yards passing. It was all
It was
running.
enough to win the game.
It was all running and defense that helped them win that
He
game.
manages it.
Still,
Geno
still
Smith did
won.
nothing.
Still won.
He had a rushing
A
touchdown.
win's a
That was
win.
it.
Career record. Scoreboard.
Scoreboard.
He earned a little bit of respect from me. I mean, here's the thing. Like, to say they earned a little bit of respect from me, I had, like, no respect for him before.
Or Geno
So,
Smith. The team
I just
or
said,
Smith.
oh.
No.
Well, no, I still
know.
barely respect the team. Mostly because I just don't like them. I don't know. I feel like this earned a little bit of respect for me. That being said, I think this more came down to the Saints losing it than the Jets winning it. But it's still big. Basically, when you let Chris Ivory run all over you.
Which I had him on my fantasy.
And the Jets are beating the Patriots and the Saints now, so they're not just beating bad teams.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which the Jets, they kind of landed on the week that, we're supposed to win. So next week they'll lose,
I don't know.
and then the week after that they'll win.
The Jets are annoying me though because like you can't predict anything with them.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay, so I have the Onion app on my phone.
Nice.
And the Onion basically like makes picks each week, like which team will win.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember the Jets and Bengals when they played, and it was like the Bengals' superior offense, defense, and special teams be no match for the Jets' luck. And that was pretty much the way it went. Sorry, that space was something else. And I just looked at it and I was like, yeah, pretty much, because it seems like every time, like these other teams will be better than them,
Yeah.
and they'll just find some stupid way to win. I can't even like quantify it really, and it's really frustrating. But at the same time, you got to respect them at least a little bit because now they're actually in
Are they
somewhat
5-4 now?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're in somewhat contention for a wild card spot. In the
They're kind of
AFC.
similar to the Panthers in the NFC.
The Panthers.
They're
Uh,
both.
Panthers
5-3.
The Panthers are weird because they were so bad early on.
yeah,
They're
They're
still
so bad.
bad.
They've
To
been
be
streaking
fair.
though. They've been streaking.
They've always been a
you
streaky
could
team.
possibly say their offense still doesn't click,
To-
but their
to-
defense is one of the top
Well,
two.
plus the thing with them is
They've
like
been that way the past few years.
the offense, it doesn't click, but Cam Newton's been playing spectacularly, especially.
And he needs to play spectacularly in
Yeah,
order
but
for them to
he
get there.
needs some health, not health. Well,
Some
health, yeah, help.
Right.
But
I would
he's just been playing like an MVP candidate this season.
Well, he usually does. He puts up those big numbers, but he doesn't have anything to back it up with. That's the problem.
But he's putting 2 and 2 together now,
Mhm.
and he kind of needs to. I mean, at this point,
So-
So
solid defense,
another
too.
game I know one of our hosts wanted to bring up was the Packers Bears.
yeah.
Yes,
So
which
how
goes-
about those
Let's
injured
avoid
QBs?
The
Ah,
battle of
sad day.
Seneca Wallace.
What do you want to talk about today?
I was actually having thoughts about who the Packers might bring in to replace
Oh.
Rodgers. They say Wallace will probably start.
Wallace
but-
They're
We're-
going with Wallace. They've
Starter.
already said, and
But
then they
I-
activated Scott Tolzien.
Rumors of signing Matt Flynn,
I heard that too, and I thought that'd
and
be a
I
good
read them
idea
and laughed. No, it would not be a
because
good
he
idea.
knows the system already.
My bad. So he can go in and get beat out by Seneca Wallace. So he can get beat out by the bottom of the bottom. Okay.
Maybe that should get Schaub. Nobody wants Schaub. Actually, I was.
They don't
I
want
was-
to pay him to be a backup.
I
after
was
he
just on the
does.
phone with my dad. We were talking about this. I think Schaub should go to Minnesota, but Minnesota already got Freeman, so they can't.
Minnesota
find
already
one.
got Freeman,
Yeah.
and
They
the
don't
point
want-
is you're paying for a guy that's pretty much an average / below average.
Freeman's
NFL
almost the
quarterback
same
at
as
this
Schaub. Maybe Schaub's
I
a
would
little
say
better.
Schaub.
point. The
but-
difference is Schaub is owed a lot of money.
I would take
And
Schaub
Freeman's
over
not.
Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
but the money comes into play
Yeah,
too.
I know. I
But,
just.
but
thought-
Flynn, going back to Flynn, he is comfortable in Green Bay because he showed signs that he could play there. And he likes the role as knowing he's the backup rather than being paid to be the starter.
You know who wins in this situation? Matt Flynn gets another paycheck to do nothing.
Another
Again.
game
And
I
wh-
wanted to bring up was the Eagles Raiders. Foles.
Yeah,
7 touchdowns.
He was the youngest guy to throw 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he
Oh,
tied
yeah.
a record.
He tied the
and
record at those 7 touchdowns.
I was surprised when I first saw it on ESPN. I'm not gonna lie.
I-
I just like glanced
I-
at it.
I
I
was-
thought it was a typo. I'm just
Doesn't-
like, what?
I was following it on my phone as it happened. And I was just like, okay, so it's kind of close. Then all of a sudden it was like 28, like
Right.
10. I was like, wait.
That was an onion
What just
story when
happened?
Foles threw
I-
some touchdowns.
I thought it was a joke.
Elway, not Foles, threw 7 touchdowns.
Oh man.
No, Vic. That's what
Like,
it'd be.
I was happy, but at the same time, I was getting kind of annoyed because my opponent in fantasy football had Brett Selleck and Deshaun Jackson on his
Nice.
team.
Of course.
And I was like, no, but yes. At the same time, I hate when that happens
Yeah.
too. When like my opponents have Eagles on the team, I'm just like,
Fantasy
I
and
want to
real
win,
life.
but no.
But going back to the Packers and Bears, the whole thing with Rodgers, he went down for a series, which really just spells disaster, especially when Santa Koalas hasn't even taken a rep.
Yeah.
Which I made the point last night. What's the point of a backup QB when you don't give him any reps at all?
Yeah.
And he's the backup.
I respect Seneca, but I don't know why they just cut Vic because not Vic,
No,
Young. My
Young.
bad.
Young.
That was the other player I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Why not pick up Young?
He
Young kind of knows
he
the
didn't
system.
know it,
Young-
but he knows it better than
Well, Young
Seneca.
is still out there. I think he's waiting for
He's
a
still
phone call
out
from
there.
teams.
I
Yeah.
know.
I would
That's another
rather I would rather they go out and get Vince Young than Matt Flynn.
I'm
Because
kind
you
of
just
just
leaning
don't like
there
Flynn
too.
at all.
I don't, because you know why? You know why? He parlayed 2 big games in mop-up duty, basically,
Oh, no.
into a giant contract to go out and suck, okay? That's why I have an issue with Matt Flynn. I don't like people getting paid to do nothing. I
I'm
really have an
sorry.
issue with that.
But anyway,
It's like
I'm
conservatism.
I'm leaning more toward Josh's idea of picking up Vince Young, because Matt Flynn, with all these other teams, he's listed as a backup, and when he does start, he's done nothing.
Yeah.
But Oakland, not a very good team.
not
Buffalo, he just was signed just in case they needed him.
No,
So-
not just nothing. He was so bad that they went to Matt McGloin,
Penn State.
yeah.
Penn State third stringer, undrafted rookie. That's how bad he was.
That's awesome. So, anyways, let's keep moving. We're going to
Give
talk
Flynn a
about
chance.
our
I was gonna
rookies.
Pasha.
Our rookies and quasi-rookies that we've been doing the past semester. So, what rookies impressed you this week?
Impressed. Oh boy. Well, the one that disappointed me, of course, was Gino. But who are the other rookies?
We can go Case
oh,
Keenum.
Matt.
I was going to say.
Glenn. I'm gonna say Glennon.
Manuel's
Glennon?
still
Okay.
injured.
I'm gonna say.
Is he still?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's expected to start this week though.
Yeah, Thad Lewis.
He was
started.
out with no.
No, was it
Jeff
Tool?
Toole.
Tool.
I would consider Keenum a quasi-rookie because we have our quasi-rookies as well. Because
He
we're going
is-
to talk
Well,
about
he's
Ryder.
actually
Is
a
he-
rookie
is he a-
because he was undrafted.
No,
No,
Yeah.
No,
is
he's
he a
been
second year or
he's
is
a
he a
second
first
year.
year?
He came out with Andrew Luck. They were in the same class.
What was he in? What was he on?
Yep.
A practice squad or something the first year?
Probably a red team.
But I'll say Glennon. Glennon performed
What-
very well and almost ended up beating the then 7-1 Seattle Seahawks.
Which one was most impressive?
Which
Uh,
one? Which one
Any
impressed
rookie
you?
or from the list?
Glennon, yeah.
Any rookie.
Rookie.
Eddie
Any
Lacy,
rookie.
150 rushing
There you
yards.
go.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, it was going to running backs. All right.
That's awesome. That's
It
great.
It just
Yeah.
says
Let's get more
rookies.
rookies.
It just
yeah.
says rookies.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about it.
Well, yeah, Lacey. Yeah.
You can
What
talk about
what, he had
how you
like
guys were
the
like-
150
second
rushing.
most rushing yards in the league or something like that, or was it the most?
He has the second
He's up
most
there.
among rookie running backs.
No, for this week.
150 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think he had the
think
second
he-
most because Zach Stacy had the most. No, maybe Mike James had the most from
Possibly.
Tampa Bay.
Possibly.
But,
Glennon did
He was
perform
up
really well. He really did.
you know, too bad they couldn't
I keep
win.
thinking we're forgetting
I think
something.
that would have
I'm
been
a
a
Keenum fangirl.
big upset if Glennon would have beat them.
Kate, I know you don't.
Well,
I'm a Keenum
And getting their
fangirl.
first win of the
I
season.
don't, did you see that touchdown run on Thursday night by Giovanni Bernard for the Bengals?
I haven't watched it.
Sick.
I don't know how his game was, but that touchdown alone should count for something.
He pretty much
This
was
is the one
going. He
touchdown
went to the
that
right.
describe everything.
People were starting to tackle him. He shrugged them off, went all the way to the other side of the field, and
They went
dodged
like
more
30
tacklers,
yards.
and it went in for 35 yards out for
You
a
know
touchdown.
what touchdown run was really interesting to me? Because I only watched a couple games this weekend, but I watched the Vikings and Cowboys game. Adrian Peterson,
Oh, yeah.
with like
Top
3
play.
people on him, he got
Give-
lifted,
give-
he
give
got lifted
credit.
in the air, came back down,
Give-
and went forward.
Give credit. Carlson helped him out.
Yeah, oh yeah, the blockers definitely helped him out. But at the same time, he just had
No,
the will.
Carlson actually kept him up from going down and pushed him.
No,
into
he
the end
landed
zone.
down himself. He got pushed from behind.
But yeah,
and
but
forward.
Carlson kept him up from going down.
He was moving his legs.
Yeah, but
He's
still,
churning.
Carlson helped.
He's
This
churning.
is a silly argument.
I'm not saying he
I'm
didn't
gonna-
help. I'm
I'm
saying
ending
it was mostly on AP.
Which that was the top play on SportsCenter.
It was an insane play to watch live. Like I watched it with my roommate that's a Vikings fan. We were just yelling at the TV.
I don't like the
What
Vikings.
just happened?
I don't like the Vikings, but I cheered when he made it.
I respect Peterson.
Yeah, I do. I do too.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know how you.
I think I yelled at my TV. This guy's not human.
He's supernatural.
You call him a robot all the time. I know this, a robot with legs. But anyways, we're going to take our first break and come back with some interesting stories, so stay tuned here for Make a Point. So we're talking incognito.
Apparently Jenny is not coming tonight.
Dang it. That's the second straight.
Caitlin said she can come, but only stay for an hour's tops.
Okay.
That being said, apparently the frisbee team is practicing at the same time.
When
And I looked at that and went,
you said that, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you over there yelling about? Like, you're like, ah!
No, it's fine.
oh, that.
They're fine. So, Martin Incognito is our next story.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Is anybody else sick of the story already?
No.
I kind of am.
Why not?
I can bring up a question on
Want
this.
Just
to
more-
know the story.
more-
There's no
I can bring
information
this
about
up.
it.
More and
I
more
can
shitty
get a good
information
argument
comes
out
out.
of you.
Go for it.
More and more shitty information. It has pretty
There's
much
just
what's
no
happening.
information at all on this. Like, there's very limited, and we're never going to get the whole story.
Oh, and now we're
He's like,
getting
I
into
wanna know.
Saps days with Tampa Bay. God.
Yeah, we're going. And welcome back here to Make Your Point. I'm Victoria Harmony. With me, Josh, Earl, Nathan Poole, and James Hagedorn.
Yes.
As we're back for some NFL action, we have some news stories to talk about. Maybe get some debate out of these lovely gentlemen. The first one we have, quite obviously, that's been hitting the records. Martin Incognito in Miami, who did lose this last weekend. No, they won.
They
by
won.
two.
They
by
won
two,
in a
20
sloppy
20.
game over Bengals.
And Incognito is suspended indefinitely, I believe, currently.
And is planning on being cut.
Yeah, basically,
Yes,
once the
he's-
investigation is complete,
He's more than likely definitely going to be cut. But as of right now, he is suspended indefinitely. Let's take a look at some of the comments he made featuring Martin. Because apparently, we talked about this last week, I think, very briefly, with the whole spat in the lunchroom where Martin just walked out, and nobody saw him for about a week, and then they found him. Miraculously.
Well, he's out
In a
doing
hospital.
He's in a
counseling.
hospital.
Yeah, he's in a hospital now. Like, somebody
California.
found him checking into a hospital of some sort, like, a week later. So now everything's fine.
Well,
But-
not really, but he's
Well,
getting
it's-
counseling.
It's fine enough. But multiple sources confirmed to ESPN on Monday that Incognito used racial epithets and profane language toward Martin on multiple occasions. And in a transcript voicemail message from April, Incognito referred to Martin as several things I'm not allowed to say.
You can
And
say just don't say
Just-
the N.
Yeah,
Some
I
racial slur.
A half N
racial slurs, piece of
blank.
crap. There we go, crap works.
and blank you.
You're a rookie and I'll kill you. So it
And
was
he
a
also
threat, but it
apparently-
wasn't a threat. He said something about his mother. as
He
well.
apparently, from what I've read, from the voicemails that Martin has supplied to the league, apparently Incognito also referred to defecating in his mouth
Yes,
Oh.
and there was something to his mother.
tracking down his family members and hurting them.
Yeah, well, that was more with the threats.
Yeah.
I mean, these were just like the ones I found on one article. I could have found many more, but I decided that we didn't need.
It just keeps getting uglier and uglier. at this point.
But some Dolphins. I mean, it's such an odd thing to have happen. Some Dolphins were aware of the contents in this voicemail, but they defended Incognito against the claims that they were saying he was racist, he intended no harm. A lot of the African members of the Dolphin squad pretty much claimed him as their own quote-unquote brother. And, I mean, clearly he's not African, but they...
African American.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, whatever. I was shortening it.
There's
I'm
likely
sorry
correct
for
term.
using slang.
There's a difference.
I apologize for being a college student using slang.
There's a slight difference, but
Everybody know what I meant, so it's fine. But, I mean, a lot of the things that were talked about during this time, Martin was basically, from what I've read, and from what Dolphins players have reported, a lot of people say that Martin was the protege of Incognito. Incognito was basically his older brother. He took him under his wing. I mean, Incognito was this brash with all the players. It wasn't just Martin. That's just his personality. He's just a brash person. And he was racist. He used racial slurs to all the players. It wasn't just Martin. Martin just took it personally to some extent.
no.
And from what I also read, this is the last thing, and you guys can talk. Martin received these voicemails, and he was showing them to the players, which is how they knew of it. And he was laughing about it. I mean, he thought it was a joke. He went along with the joke. He was fine with it. He was laughing about these particular voicemails. So, on top of all that, I want to know your guys' thoughts on it, and if you think the Dolphins are handling this correctly.
Okay, can I comment? 'Cause I've read
sure.
like,
Go ahead.
countless articles
I
on
have
this
to.
already.
It's just
Basically, from Martin has come out and said multiple things about this. He said that he laughed at a lot of it because he was afraid of what would happen if he didn't. That he was actually physically intimidated by Incognito and felt that he would hurt him or his loved ones. And basically, this also came down from Incognito. He's had a rep in the league for quite a while as a more brash guy and also as a dirty player and that kind of stuff and a dirty guy. But apparently, he was also supposedly told by the GM Jeff Ireland to toughen up Martin because apparently Martin missed OTAs or something like that, and he was supposed to get on him for that. And here's the thing, like hazing and that kind of stuff, I don't have all that much issue with like a little bit of hazing. Like the whole thing about like having the younger kids like carry your shoulder pads, that kind of stuff. I don't have much issue with that kind of stuff. But when it gets to this type of stuff where you're actually physically and mentally abusing someone, then it hits a line where it's not all right anymore. And it's just really interesting to me how so many players around the league. The thing that's interesting to me is people are blaming Martin. People blaming Martin, basically saying that he should have physically confronted Incognito or he should have spoke up sooner. Yeah, he probably should have spoken up sooner.
Hence, toughen up.
But at the same time, you also have, if anybody studied the psychology of bullying, you recognize if you're the bullied, you feel like no one will listen, no one will help. It's all hopeless, basically. That there is no getting out of this, and that's all your fault. His former coach from whatever college he went to,
Shaw, it was Stanford.
Stanford,
Yep.
basically said that he wasn't surprised that Martin was bullied because he's always had that kind of personality to kind of internalize things and to kind of figure it was his fault and that kind of stuff. And to that point, basically, it was just kind of a perfect storm of where Incognito could get away with all this kind of stuff, and he was the perfect person. They couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
It's kind of a sense of hopelessness about it. So effectively, and at the same time, there's so many layers to this. Basically, at the administration level, the coaching level, the player level.
And I mean, we're never going to know the full story.
No, we're
We
never
still
gonna full
don't know
story.
the
We're just
entire
here.
story.
It's just like
There's still more developing stories
Yeah,
within the story.
Exactly. And we're
every
never going to know
day.
the entire
Every day,
thing.
there's more stuff coming out. Multiple players are
And
speaking.
yeah,
out
and now they're getting players in on this
There are
too.
players
But
from
I mean,
other
a lot of
teams
the
speaking
Dolphins
about it.
are being, told what to say for their PR purposes.
Well, yeah, and
So-
the Dolphins players pretty much have to, in this case, try to defend Incognito to an extent because he's the aggressor in this situation and he's on the team. Like they have to try, from a PR standpoint, they have to try to defend him without attacking Martin.
Right.
But other team players, I think some Antrell Roll was it?
Yeah, that's
Who
Giants.
basically blamed it on Martin and saying that that would never happen to him because he would physically stand up to him. Martin, I guess, wanted to physically stand up. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I guess maybe he felt like physically standing up there, everybody would gang up on him if everybody was allowing it to happen. That's just part of the psychology that goes into it.
Well, and there's no place anywhere for this kind of bullying, especially an NFL locker room. You gotta look at the coaches too. Joe Philbin. I don't know how you
How
would
do
have
you
to be
allow this to
somewhat
happen?
aware of it going on.
Yeah, there was no awareness of anything.
It's pretty much like any large scandal that comes out. You kind of figure how could everybody not know.
Right. There was definitely some form of awareness of what was happening in-house.
Yeah,
but it's just... Nate had a point he wanted
yeah.
to bring up.
I'll bring this up. 2009 Dirtiest Player Award went to Richie Incognito. 2 years ago, it went to Ndamukong Suh. Both of these
I was
players,
hoping this wouldn't come up.
both of these players, as we know, both went to Nebraska. The
I was
University of
hoping this
Nebraska.
wouldn't come up.
I just want your
I don't
opinion
like
on this. Is the issue that they went to Nebraska? Which in my opinion, no, it's not the issue because it just totally, their attitude totally changes when they get to the
I
NFL.
think it's a coincidence.
No, I just am bringing it up because
Here,
it was a question that was brought up.
I don't want to blame it on the Nebraska thing, but I think here's a diversity thing, actually. In the Midwest, we're not the most diverse area. So you don't encounter as much and you don't quite learn not how to deal with it, but how to interact with people of diverse backgrounds, that kind of stuff. And then we have issues going off into the NFL where you have to be involved with all sorts of different people and everything like that. And maybe you're not prepared for that as well. That might be part of it, just on a psychological basis.
I would disagree with that a little bit, especially since, I mean, at the University of Nebraska, they do have a very diverse, at least, football team. And to be fair, I mean, he had to deal with people on the football team. And the coaching staff is even diverse. I believe they have a few African-American coaches as well. So, I mean, to be fair, he would have had to have dealt with it in that as well.
I'm just saying, the whole kind of issue that this brought up with Nebraska is because of Bo Pelini and how aggressive he is and getting these players to their best. These players getting their best potential every single game. And he works them really hard, but he wants them to accomplish what he's trying to incorporate in the offense or the defense. So, like, it was brought up that maybe it's just anger issues with Bo Pelini or something. Then that's reflecting on the
because
players.
Carl Pelini would have been there when Incognito was there, and Bo and Carl together was just a really bad combination. That was a terrible few years there. But it's going to be extremely biased, but I personally don't think it has anything to do with the University of Nebraska. It could very well be to the coaching.
You just figure coincidence there.
I would say that, I mean, this coming out so suddenly, like, I never would have expected it. I mean, Incognito, I think he's been that way even since college. I think he's been that kind of brash personality.
Well, because he did start at Oregon, and then he had some feud with the team,
and it was never
then he transferred to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So I never quite realized that 3 of the players I consider the dirtiest players in the game came from the University of Nebraska.
Who was your third? Yeah.
Dominic Sue, Dominic Raiola.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Raiola. You know what I would say? Cortland Finnegan.
Oh, him.
That's third in my book.
I was just saying 3 of the people that I consider the most. Finnegan's dirty too. But
Yeah,
so
Raiola's on.
Merriweather, he's not from Nebraska.
Raiola's on that list, of course.
Yeah.
As one of the top.
I'm not saying he's like my third most
Just saying-
dirty player.
One of the dirtiest players that he knows.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But, I mean, it could very well be to the coaching. I wouldn't disagree with that because Bo does have a very aggressive defensive style.
As we can see when he's on TV.
He's a much, and as far as Bo goes, I'm not a fan of him personally as a head coach. He's a great defensive coach. Excellent defensive coach. He knows how to get the most out of his defensive players, hence Dominic Sue and Incognito. We can't deny that they are good defensive players. At least give them that. They're dirty, but they're good.
Incognito is not a defensive player.
He's a line.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
But
Slight difference. Offense,
Close
defense,
enough.
it's all the same.
they're close enough anyways. But, I mean, he gets the most potential out of those players that he knows how to work with. I mean, he might not know how to work with a quarterback, but he knows how to work with defensive people and linemen, clearly. So, I mean, I wouldn't argue that it's on Bo. It could possibly be on Bo. But I wouldn't say it's the administration as a whole, because I think you would see more than just 3 in the past 5 years or whatever it's been. 2009 was... That's
4 years ago.
So, yeah, 5 years.
Math is hard.
Yeah,
I
5
got
years.
the
If
general
you
5.
count, if you
I got
count,
the general 5.
if you count this year, it'd be 5.
So there, I win.
So.
The host always wins. So, I mean, I think you would see more than 3 in the past 5 years, if it really was an administrative problem, if that makes sense.
Yep. But I just thought I'd bring it up.
I was really
That's
hoping nobody would catch
interesting.
that.
That's
I was hoping no one would catch it.
I
because
think
I
it's
knew
a
you
really
wouldn't.
What?
I knew
I knew
you
you
wouldn't
wouldn't.
catch it. And he was
I think it's a really interesting coincidence.
No, I know, but I knew you
Very
wouldn't catch he was from Nebraska, and I was hoping it wouldn't get brought up because I get enough crap for Nebraska things. Fine.
We love you.
I'm just gonna hold back on this one.
We don't try to make your life difficult by talking about Nebraska.
Nebraska makes it difficult.
Nebraska makes life difficult. So let's talk about coaches.
Okay.
Wade Phillips was named the interim coach for the Texans after Kubiak suffered his... it's a very
He
long
collapsed.
word, and I need to pull it up. Basically, it was a precursor to a stroke, like a mini stroke of such. And it was, if my thing will scroll, an ischemic attack. Transient ischemic attack. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. That's what it
Got any
is.
pre-med majors in here?
I
we're
have
good.
one.
We're
I
good.
have one in my house.
I know.
Yeah, I think
know
I
who
could
it is.
text my roommate, but actually I don't know if he's listening because I wasn't around to remind him today.
Somebody's listening.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
somebody's watching on the Ustream, so wave at Ustream.
It's probably my mom.
Anyway,
Hi mom, if that's you.
so Gary Kubiak was taken off the field at halftime of Sunday's game. I believe it was Sunday.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
And in the meantime, until he returns, which is unclear when he will return, Wade Phillips is the head coach.
At least as a competent person coming in.
He is, but I like him much more as a coordinator than a coach.
Oh no, he's a great defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And he kind of
Because in Dallas,
he
that didn't
was
work out.
Yeah.
borderline competent as a head coach in Dallas, but at least he's someone who knows what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
been there before.
For a few weeks, hopefully
Yeah.
Kubiak can return soon, but
At the very least, if you're going to have a guy out for an extended period of time and for an interim
Yeah.
coach, you want someone who's
Not
at least done it before.
from within, that wasn't a bad hire. Or-
And Kubiak is already, back in communication with the Texans.
Mhm.
He may not be there personally, but he is keeping in contact. So.
It's a stressful job, though.
Well,
Very stressful.
hence John Fox.
Hence
Which
John
we'll be
Fox,
talking
who's
about.
also out of commission for the time being because he had surgery to replace a valve in his heart, making
Aortic. Wow.
Interesting intern choice by Denver.
making Jack Del Rio the interim coach.
Jack Del Rio's former head coach, too.
He did all right in Jacksonville.
Yeah, considering he had kind of a talent problem. Yeah.
He had Garrard, who was pretty much the best quarterback.
And he had Leftwich before Garrard.
Yep. Yep. And Leftwich
Yeah,
was
about
kinda falling off the
that.
face of the earth. But
Alright, so before we run out of time, let's get a look at next week's games. What game are you looking forward to the most? You all get to pick one.
oh boy. Gosh, I don't want to be biased this week.
You're always biased.
Not all the
I know.
time.
I try to hide.
I don't want to be biased either, but our teams play each other.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's the game I was going to
One
bring
of you
up.
can
But
be
if you're,
biased.
Well,
if
one
you're
of
going to
you-
bring it up, you bring
One
it
of
up.
you can be biased.
Okay, right. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3,
James,
shoot.
well, they're doing
Alright.
it. Why don't
I might pick that one too.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. For the sake
Oh,
of
that's your team, too.
for diversity, how about the Sunday night game, Cowboys Saints? Be a good bit of offense in that one.
Hitchcock show
For an utter lack of defense, yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Romo versus Breeze. That should be a pretty good one. There's not too many huge games. I mean, Lions Bears are battling.
There's
Hey,
a few
don't
interesting
label
ones.
more.
You pick
Oh,
one. And then we
okay.
go through.
Saints Cowboys.
There you go.
There you go.
Saints
There's a few really interesting ones.
So, Josh, what's
Go
your
ahead.
pick?
I'm going to call upset. Miami at Tampa.
Oh, you're not picking that game now?
Yeah, you won the rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, you won the rock,
can
paper,
take it.
scissors.
No, I thought that meant you had to take it.
No,
lost.
you won.
Oh,
So
whatever.
you take
okay.
it.
One of you's going to take it,
Wow.
so you're picking Tampa.
Apparently
and
somebody doesn't know how to play rock, paper, scissors.
Josh,
Whatever, I want to pick the
Josh, your
upset.
pick.
Common game.
Just shush Josh's pick now.
Tampa over Miami.
Oh, dang. I'm going to go the Panthers and 49ers.
And then nobody picks it.
I don't know.
Hey,
Hey,
you
no
can
one
pick
wants
it.
to see
I
the
love
game
you
of backup
guys.
QBs,
But,
okay?
well, I was expecting you to do it, so. But anyway, the Panthers, this is going to be their first real test because this is not an average team that they've been playing. in the
Oh,
beginning of the
Niners
season.
are on fire.
After they were
Yeah.
bad early on, the Niners have been angry.
Oh, yeah.
Last, like,
And the
half
Niners
season.
are at home in this
Because-
one, so the Panthers
yeah.
got to travel,
People wrote them off early, but
which
no,
they got
they're
to travel
still
quite a
great
long
team.
ways, all the way to the West Coast. But it's going to be a big test for the Panthers, and I believe they don't
Yeah.
get it done because San Francisco's at
That'd be
home.
tough to get it done.
Well, since you guys took the...
You'll take the
battles of
Packers
the
now.
Don't you
good
want
picks.
Washington, Minnesota?
No, I'm actually...
Thursday night?
I'm going to go
Tonight.
with the battle of the
Alright.
worst with the Raiders and the Giants and the Bills and the Steelers.
I think the Bills and Steelers would be interesting. I think that could be a Bills upset too.
I
If,
could
that,
too.
if
I
that's
could
an
see
upset,
that.
I'm not sure.
I think the
it's an
I don't
Bills
think
might
it's
even
an
have a
upset.
better
I think it's
I'm
actually
pretty sure
Bills
they
have
do
the
a
upper
better
The
record.
Bills are 3
Yeah, but
and
they're
6, so
like
they
the
have a better record.
third string
So
quarterback.
the
They're half
Bills
a
have
game
just
ahead
a
of the
little bit of a
Steelers.
better record.
Even with the whole Vegas lines, I bet Buffalo is up on this game.
I,
But maybe
I
one
think the
or
Raiders and Giants is going to be a really ugly game.
I think it'll be an old game worth watching.
12 prior, though.
So,
Shout out. Not bad year.
shout out.
Fantasy quarterback.
Yeah,
Rogers went down, so.
we're going to
Eli
take a
Manning.
quick break here and come back with some other sports action. So keep listening to 91.1 KAOR Radio.
For anybody who does not know how to play rock, paper, scissors, teach Josh how to play it.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Hey, you know who the Packers could sign? Timmy Tebow.
They could.
Nobody
Screw
can find Tim Tebow ever.
Tim
Tebow.
Tim Tebow should die in Canada.
Or Brett Favre.
God.
Give Brett Favre a call.
Oh God, no!
Brett Favre already said no to people.
Hey,
That's
I would
okay.
rather see Timmy Tebow play in Jacksonville rather than Green
if
Bay.
you're okay with it, she'd like to watch.
No.
Who?
No. Well, that's cool.
Who? Who?
Ooh, Kiana.
Kiana who?
Yeah.
Is that your girlfriend? Yeah, it is.
Nobody's watching.
It is.
We're safe.
My parents don't know.
He's being a naughty boy.
Okay, I better
He's
shut
being
up
a
then.
naughty boy.
Except Jess like said wide open on Monday,
That's
and I was
funny.
like, no.
That was funny. And then we talked about it. I'm just like, let's just not talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it. Okay, we're talking
She
about
kept
it.
apologizing. We're just like, what?
So we're back here on Make Your Points on 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Victoria Harmony. With me, Josh Earl, Nathan Poole, and special guest James Hegedorn.
Which
Oh,
we love.
I totally just realized, my mom told me like a few days ago that my dad goes back after work and watches these episodes.
Yeah, I know. So he did them. I thought about that. That's why I told you guys to
Whoops.
stop talking
I
about
completely
it.
forgot about that.
That's why I said stop talking about it. But everyone's like, no, we're going to talk about it. Let's just talk about the thing that no one can talk about. And let's go to NBA.
Yay!
Rookie guard Dennis Schroeder has been suspended for 1 game for striking DeMarcus Cousins of the Sacramento Kings in the groin.
Striking is an iffy word in this context.
Striking.
I did not see it.
I didn't see it either.
I've seen the video of it.
I didn't watch
I
the
can actually
video,
tell you.
honestly.
Basically, he came around a
Through
pick.
his
He
leg
came around-
into the crotch.
He came around a
area.
pick,
Oh.
and his hand came down and not only grabbed it, apparently twisted. And we're just like,
How
why?
do you accidentally twist?
I don't
You
know.
can't
gosh.
accidentally twist. That's not an accident.
I don't know, but I watched the video and Cousins was in so much pain, and then he went off and like got a foul on the other
There
end,
is
a
no
blocking foul,
accident in
and I
that.
was just laughing because it's horrible, but it's so funny to watch at the
Poor
same
DeMarcus.
time.
DeMarcus has been known as one of those dirty players and very
No,
selfish
so
players.
He's an angry guy.
Cousins
angry.
took issue with the official suggesting that he was being singled out by referees based on past court behavior that has led to multiple suspensions by the NBA and the Kings.
Well,
Courtesy of ESPN.
it's not. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that if you're constantly kind of like having issues with following the rules like this up, the referees probably aren't going to be on your side. I mean, as much as we want refereeing to be objective, at the same time, it's
Right.
not really. So
To be honest with you guys, how easy is it to grab the groin area?
kind of
through
difficult,
shorts?
actually. It's
Through shorts.
through shorts, not just through shorts, but in like the quick pace of the game.
It wasn't an accident. Like, you can't do that accidentally.
I'm not
You
even
can't
sure.
twist
I
accidentally
couldn't
either.
like see if he really like twisted or not. Like the article I read said that he twisted, but it looked like he just grabbed it and then kept going. And I'm just like, why would you? Like your hand, I can understand your hand accidentally being down there because he was in the process of running and like accidentally like whacking it, but not grabbing it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I
Like
mean,
there's my issue with it.
so later in the fourth quarter, Cousins was assessed a flagrant foul for shoving Al Horford. That call was downgraded to a personal foul.
Well, he was angry.
It did wind up pulling
It was-
Cousins from the game midway through the fourth quarter. Do you think the 1-game suspension is a suitable suspension? Do you think it should be worse?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
suitable.
I don't
If
know
it was
how much issue with
unintentional,
it.
It was really.
I
It-
don't think it
I
could
it
have
was
been.
partially
If
intentional.
it was partial,
If
Well, I
he
think it
grabbed
was
it, it was
intentional.
intentional.
Yeah,
maybe one or
if he-
two. But that's a low
If he
blow.
actually went down and was like, I'm gonna grab this and yank,
This.
then it's intentional.
Rookie from
This.
Germany,
Oh,
right?
so many things I can't
What?
say.
He's
on
a rookie
here.
from Germany,
Oh,
right?
Dennis
So
Schroeder.
Yeah, yes.
that's kind of a bad way to start your NBA career by grabbing someone.
Hey, everybody knows
Now
he's a
everybody's
scrappy young
gonna-
kid, you know.
Everybody's
I mean,
gonna want to
what
get
was
away
it?
from that guy now.
Hey, you know, it worked. It frustrated the big guy. Whatever.
probably
Got a
Yeah.
flagrant
I-
foul out of it. It's
I
worth
just-
it.
I just thought it was all. It was just funny for me to watch. I mean, here's the thing. Like,
I guess because you
and
like
the
those
look,
kind of actions.
the look,
Oh, low blow. Never mind.
the look on Cousins' face though was
Maybe it's more accepted in
priceless.
Germany.
Oh man,
Maybe it's a welcome.
No.
Maybe that's how they say hello
Maybe.
in German
You can
basketball.
ask
no,
German.
no, it's really not.
You don't know.
It's hello.
Hello, welcome.
I've studied a little bit of
Welcome
German
to the
culture.
class.
That's not. That's
Did
not
you
right.
study German basketball culture?
Yeah, exactly.
Ask Dirk Nowitzki.
Ask Dirk. Maybe Dirk will know.
When they play
Dirk,
each other.
is this what you do in your league? No, it was just kind of funny. I mean, I guess he was just trying to
Poor
bug him
German.
or something. I don't even know.
Trying to stop him. It worked.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, it
Sanders-
slowed him down a little bit.
Sanders also
Larry.
sat out Wednesday night's game against Cleveland with a sore thumb. The Bucks say he heard it in an incident over the weekend, but provided no details. The Milwaukee County Attorney's Office said it reviewed an altercation early Sunday involving several people, including Sanders. The statement also said that no one will be charged.
I gotta keep bias out of this.
Sanders from Larry Sanders.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
Milwaukee
Here's the thing. I
Bucks.
read a story about the incident. Apparently, he was like smashing bottles over people's heads.
Yeah, it wasn't nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
wow.
He
so,
missed
yeah.
practice Monday after his wife went into labor, and then Tuesday with the injured thumb.
I wonder if this has anything to do to
That's how you celebrate the birth of your child. Alrighty.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go have an
Well,
altercation.
in the first few games he hasn't been producing or playing as much as he would
Well,
like, so he's
come
frustrated.
out and he said he's frustrated at the coaching staff for not playing.
So maybe that's something
You're
to do.
4 games into the season.
The 4 games in
Yeah,
the
I
season,
know.
but he's averaging like 4 points a game. 4
Zaza's
rebounds a game.
been
He's
playing much
he's playing
more.
like 20 minutes a game or something like that. And basically, they're not putting him on the court for important stretches and everything like that. And
Oh,
they
trouble.
invested a lot of money in him, too.
Yeah.
$44 million to be
Zaza
exact.
Pachulia is just going in there and working.
Zaza's really,
God.
Zaza's
He's really
massively
coming alive.
underrated. He's massively
He's
underrated.
coming alive.
I would question his
Yeah.
contract, but watching him play, I'm not questioning it
No,
anymore.
I wasn't.
He's a
I
grinder.
think when I was on your show, I was like, yeah, he's massively underrated. He's a very good. He's not a flashy player, but he'll get a lot of rebounds for you. He'll get a few
You know,
blocks.
he kind of
grinds
reminds
them out.
he kind of reminds me of Chris Kaman. I don't mean to make the Lakers reference.
No, kind of.
But he
Where
reminds
Kaman
me
was
of-
a Clipper for a long
Yeah,
time.
he reminds me of a Kaman where he can get the points if you need to, and he can be that grinder.
He's a grinder down. Basically, it's all about the man-to-man defense and that kind of stuff, and he'll help out in the zone.
Yeah, but back to Larry Sanders. It's kind of sad because last year he was known a lot for his technicals, getting ejected, and this year he said he was going to work on it, maybe with Coach Drew, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like first game he had 5 fouls pretty early on, so now it's like, did he really clean up? Because he's a great player. He's a high energy player with all of his blocks and his. He needs to work on his offense a little bit, but
I think he wants more freedom too, which playing in Larry Drew's system you're not going to get. He's a regimented coach that's been successful before. He knows his style.
So, speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks, how about that starting Jackrabbits, who might be getting
Nate
another
Walters.
start this week?
it's conflicting.
Well,
because
it's kind of like who else are you going to play, really?
He's doing great,
because
though.
everybody else is injured at that position.
Riddenauer's out,
Yes.
Knight's out.
Knight.
Well,
Yeah.
they sent away JJ Redick for basically a sandwich. They gave up Monta Ellis because he wanted way more money than he's worth. But frankly, he's performing for his contract right
He's
now.
scoring.
And
that's what he
really,
does.
you look at it: 9 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds a game. My gosh, the kid can really do anything.
He can play defense and he can rebound. Like
Which
you
that was
said.
one of the big questions coming into the league. Can he keep up with some of these faster players and play good defense?
Yeah, it's hard to watch him as a Bucks fan because he's like, oh, it's a Jackrabbit, but oh, go Bucks. So
Because you're
he has a nice
Milwaukee
floater.
Bucks.
Well, to be
He-
fair,
he is
it's
a
it's
floater.
not like we're going to see a whole lot of coyotes in the NBA. To be fair,
Well, we could. Maybe.
You never know.
where's Westbrook at? Where do you end up?
He's actually
He's
in
not in this country,
overseas.
is he?
He's in an
Yeah.
overseas league,
Hey, it's possible.
international.
Yeah.
And so is Boss, but not Hagee, right? Female.
Oh, Heggie, yeah.
But Boss is too, I thought. thought
I
she
haven't
was
heard any.
overseas.
I know that Heggie had a stint.
She's in, like, Europe somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe she's still there. But she had a stint with an
Women can play too. It's fine.
I
It's
didn't
fine.
say they couldn't, but I just find the WNBA league with its 8 teams kind of a joke.
So yeah, I thought being the Coyotes natives, we should talk about the Jackrabbit that got drafted last year. Because
He's doing well. Very
Good
well.
for you,
And he was
sir.
just thrown
Good
in
for
there
you.
first game.
Yeah,
Because
really.
Knight got hurt like 2 minutes in.
And Riddenauer was dealing with injury, and then there was somebody else.
Well,
right?
Brandon Knight got hurt like a minute in.
No, like other than Brandon Knight, because Riddenauer was injured.
Well, he's pretty much they have pretty much 3-point guards. I mean, unless
And
you
whoever
put
the- I don't
OJ May up point, but he's more of a 2.
Yeah, he's more of a 2. Yeah.
Do not put OJ Mayo at point. Don't do it.
He's been doing good. Yeah, good game. Last
How are the
He
Bucks
is
doing?
super.
2-2.
He is super streaky though.
huge comeback.
OJ Mayo, he'll score like 30 points a
Him-
game
him
for like
and-
8 straight games, and then just go ice
Him and
cold.
Gary Neal were hitting threes like crazy last game.
Then he's hitting his hot
We
stretch.
got
Wait
Gary
for the
Neal.
cold stretch.
Garrett Neal could possibly be one of their best pickups.
They could put Neal in point a little bit.
You know,
He shoots a lot.
Neal
He'd be like
shined-
Brandon Jennings.
Neal shined in San Antonio. I think he could shine with any other team, and especially Milwaukee, who is up and coming.
Yeah, I
who
think
has
I
been
think it's a
in the
good
thick
fit.
of the playoff race for the last 2 seasons, just haven't really performed.
Think of the bottom seeds.
Yeah,
This year,
that's what I'm saying.
Who
so
knows?
so that playoff revenue is nice.
Who knows 6th through 8th seeds this year? It's a tough call in the East.
Yeah. There's
Well, heck, you could say even Western.
And the West. Yeah, that's true.
West is so
Who knows?
stacked with teams.
Minnesota now. How about
Yes.
the Wolves?
Even though they lost a big one to Golden State. Sorry, I know we're getting off track.
That's alright. So, if there's no more topics on the NBA, that's this year, or main stories I wanted to talk about.
Howard going back to the Lakers.
Oh, that's today, right? If
Yeah,
Kobe
yeah,
was
they-
in that game, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
But the Lakers are doing pretty well.
Well, they're
Even though-
2 and 3 now
That's not terrible without
because
their...
they lost. Golden State was the last. No, Dallas was the last team they lost to, and they lost pretty handily. So they just got to get back into their mojo and try to get a win. And doing it against the James Harden and Dwight Howard led Rockets would be a big boost.
That'd be
for them.
huge. And that would prove that maybe they didn't need Dwight
Yeah,
after
yeah.
all. So it's a kind of a big game.
This kind of is like a statement game for both teams.
I mean, even though they'll
Because Howard
downplay
and
it,
them are
it's pretty much
struggling too.
Yeah.
They just lost to Orlando not too long ago.
There's a bunch of mini stories. I'll just kind of go rapid fire through them, I guess. Westbrook is back for the Thunder.
Yeah, I saw
That's
a bunch
nice.
of injuries and healing.
There's a ton of flop
warnings.
warnings already because
The
Oh.
Pacers
that's
are the
what
only
happens.
undefeated team.
Vince Carter got flagrant 2 the other day for absolutely like elbowing the 7-footer in the face. Yeah. And Derrick Rose's kinesio tape that he's been wearing on the back of his neck has been approved by the NBA.
And also, I said that Pacers were the only undefeated.
Yeah, because they've been playing. They're on fire right now.
I had them going pretty far anyway. I'm not too
I
surprised.
had them. Win the
We-
championship.
I had them losing the championship, but we both had them making it.
Alright, so let's hit our last pro sports of the hour, the hockey league, because that happens too. So look at the rankings so far. I can pull it up quick. And just to be fair, so you guys are aware of this, I'm going to have you guys rank the top 2 teams in both conferences.
Okay.
Your top 2 teams, not necessarily the top
You
2
do that
teams
to
are
a
right
certain
now.
extent.
Yes. It can just be a rough one, it's fine. So in the Eastern Conference right now, the top teams are looking to be Tampa Bay in the Atlantic, and Pittsburgh in the Metropolitan.
I forgot Detroit moved to the East.
Yes.
Did they move?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
All the moves
And
happened
Winnipeg
last year.
moved.
And then for the Western, you have the Colorado Avalanche at the top of the Central, and Anaheim at the top of the Pacific.
Yeah, for the East, excuse me, Pittsburgh,
We're just
of
gonna
course,
have
will be
Pittsburgh.
up there pretty much
I have them number
every
one.
single year. And then there was one more, Washington. I'll pick Washington.
Oh wow. I'll go Pittsburgh and Tampa.
Washington is in the East.
Yeah, that's
Are
what
you?
we're running.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll
I didn't know
go.
if they were doing
Pittsburgh's always stacked with Crosby, Malkin. Fleury's a great goaltender, and then Stamkos at Tampa. I mean, it's hard not to go. I mean, you could go Ovechkin with Washington, but they never do great in the playoffs.
Pittsburgh is who?
Tampa.
Well, to be honest with you, I have a breaking news story. The Packers are starting workouts with Matt Flynn.
Oh, he's back.
Broken here on Coyote Radio.
Hey,
He's
you
back
know what the
From
good
an
news is
inside
about that?
source.
Hey, good news for me. Eagles win. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll
See
see.
you on the field.
Alright, Josh, so your top 2
'Cause
teams
that's where Matt
of
Flynn really
NHL
performs.
in the Eastern
In
Conference.
the Eastern Conference.
Eastern Conference. That's the Atlantic and Metropolitan.
Pittsburgh and Tampa.
Okay.
Like, what?
Wonderful.
They're
Well, I'm the
controversial.
only one that goes different here.
Even Washington. They do have guys, Backstrom, but Ovechkin, but playoffs have been tough for them.
And like we just said, it's the start of the season too.
I'm just high on Pittsburgh. I'm wondering how Philadelphia fell off the face of the year.
They did that a few years ago.
Did
but
they
that's
make the
okay.
playoffs last year?
Not last year.
No, they're
The year
very
before?
up and down.
The year before, they
It's
got
like-
to the finals and lost.
They're not very
I think.
consistent, but
Yeah. So in the Western Conference, who are you guys taking?
Anaheim number 1,
What?
and
the
the Ducks,
Good. They're doing good.
and the
Mighty
Avalanche.
Ducks.
Avalanche number 2.
Well, you know what?
I'm just picking the top teams in
Well,
the.
you know
It's
what?
fine. We're gonna talk about Colorado too. So
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm gonna say Colorado was number 1, and Chicago number 2.
I almost went Chicago, but I just don't.
Blackhawks. I wonder if they have to change their name too. The Blackhawks might be derogatory.
Probably will.
Might be derogatory.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Cleveland Indians
The Indians are changing their
they're
logo
changing
to
their
the
logo.
C, right?
They might.
Yeah.
They're
The
like
C on their
Just their
caps.
logo, though. They're not changing their name.
Just
Gosh.
that logo.
Western Conference. We're getting off topic.
Anaheim and Chicago.
Dude, you're not saying Colorado?
No. I'm a believer in Chicago.
I got San Jose up there too. I can maybe have San Jose
Yeah, San
over.
Jose's not doing too bad.
They might have lost one game.
But before we talk about the Avalanche, how about Jason Arnaud, who has announced his retirement after playing 1,244
Holy crap.
games in 18
Wow.
seasons. So he's finally retiring.
If this would be even more interesting if he never got injured or never
He was
got hurt. in
drafted
his career.
7th overall by the Edmonton Oilers in 1993 and recorded the first 239 points of his career with that team. He's played for the Devils, the Stars, the Predators, the Capitals, and the Blues. He has not played since the end of the 11-12 season. And he won the only Stanley Cup of his career with the Devils.
That's not too many teams for playing 18 years. It's not too
18
bad.
is like stretching it in the NHL.
He also played for the gold medal winning Canadian team at the 94 World Championships.
And he won the title in 2000. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while, but interesting.
So I thought that'd be a nice shout out to him. I just saw the number 1,244 games and I'm like, wow, we have to talk about that one.
And hockey's a tough sport.
It is. That's a lot of
It's
games.
possibly the either number 1 or number 2 most violent sport.
It's
You
definitely
know,
a lot
soccer's
of
up
games.
there. So,
Yeah, because there's no padding though.
like you wouldn't think, but soccer's pretty violent.
You gotta be
So-
careful about getting cleated, too.
For the Avalanche, the Predators ended the Avalanche's winning streak. Matt Duchene had a goal and 2 assists for Colorado, which fell 1 win short of NHL history. The Avalanche were attempting to start a franchise record and match the 07-08 Ottawa Senators for the best 14-game start in league history. But they lost. to the Senators. So that's
long
over.
story short, they lost.
Long story short.
Long
yeah.
story short, I brought this up.
You,
because
you
they
know
lost.
those hopes and dreams you had? Let's crush
Yeah,
them.
they're just over. So even though they lost to the Predators this week, do you think that Colorado still has a good chance to win their division?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think they have a good chance to win it. Where? Oh,
The
But
big team
thi-
they will need to face.
I think
is
Chicago overtakes them.
You know, Minnesota, you can watch out with them. They have some guys they
Yep.
brought in 2 years ago, like Parise.
And Suter.
Yeah,
Ryan
so
Suter.
you can watch out for Minnesota. But I think Colorado could win that division.
Their main. You could possibly look at 2 teams right now. Their main competition is Minnesota and Chicago.
Yep. Definitely.
But if they can get a good lead against those 2 teams, then yeah, they win that easily.
And Chicago could easily be higher, but they got 4 overtime losses.
Mhm.
And that is our brief look at hockey. We'll have to spend more time on it when we have our hockey
Oh, yeah.
experts on
Yes, boom.
sometime. So keep it tuned here to Make Your Point as we get ready for some college sports for our second hour. You're listening to Make Your Point on 91.1 KAOR Radio.
So how was that bullshitting?
Woo!
Yeah.
We all did. It was awesome, guys. I'm so
Yeah,
proud of
Andrew
you.
Brown was like, "Yeah, you hear about Matt Flynn?" And I was like, "Oh boy, what now?"
He's
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be
starting
fired.
workouts with Flynn.
Woo!
Oh Jesus!
6 touchdowns.
Come in, 5 touchdowns!
Hey.
Wow!
Alright.
Carl Pelini
Yeah, he got, he resigned last week. because-
denies drug use, says FAU forced his resignation.
Yes, I understand. I read that, and I was going to bring it up last week, but I thought it might look biased because Carl used to go to Nebraska, so I avoided it.
Gary Kubiak has made an appearance at their Thursday practice.
That's wonderful.
Ah,
So, you might want to
Oh,
have...
are we
a-
just skipping baseball?
Yes,
it's kind of
Free agency, managers,
We could talk maybe
all that
awards.
stuff.
That's not
yeah.
really that debate-worthy, and it's more pressing when it comes up to it, so like at the start of next season. So
I just saw an interesting story on ESPN about Scott Boras versus Jay-Z in the agent field. It's pretty interesting.
Jay-Z,
Scott
I don't think he's going to be that
Morris.
great of an agent.
I mean, he's doing
Well, he's
his
doing pretty
name.
good right now.
Yeah, he's
His
doing
name
good.
recognition, basically.
And I think he knows what he's doing too. I don't think he's.
I still think he's biased. I still think the
So
whole
you
thing
might
is
want to
biased.
have a college football game ready.
I
Yeah.
pulled them up.
They're both
Quick,
good agents.
please. I don't have my computer.
Well,
I
most,
really don't
most
have
of
my
the games are
Right on in
tonight.
30 seconds.
The big ones are
Oh,
tonight.
I already got it. Never mind. I got it.
No, from last week, not this week.
Oh.
From last week.
Uh,
First we talked about last
I
week.
got it.
Last we talked about.
I got one.
Keep your stuff.
The game of the week was kind of.
Oh.
I'm surprised it's happening tonight, though, the Oregon-Stanford game. You think they would have planned it better.
And Baylor, Oklahoma. That's a good one.
But nobody was expecting Baylor to be
Didn't
that
I
good
call
this year.
Tennessee though?
To be honest, dude,
And they just got
when they did this whole preview thing for
This
that
is why
game,
we
I
were
was
all
thinking
like,
it was
hey,
Saturday night.
you shouldn't do that.
I didn't know it was
You
Saturday
know
night.
what? Hey.
Yeah.
10
So there's
seconds.
stuff happens.
So you
And
might
maybe
want
that's why they moved to Thursday, because they're getting two big
Oh,
games.
what do you know?
that
Oklahoma
are
State
meaning
beat-
something important.
4. And welcome back here to Make Your Point. I'm your host, Victoria Harmony. With me, Josh Earl, Nathan Poole, and special guest James Hagedorn, who I can say his name now.
Yes.
So happy.
It
So
took you
happy.
4 times to
I
get
know.
Joey's name right.
And I got James's down, so I'm just on the ball.
Now we got Levi. We get Levi in here now.
We do. I don't know his last name.
Goots.
Goots.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's not a hard one.
So I'm just saying, you might get it
I'm
one
gonna call him the
try.
Goot, not the Goots.
You might
The
get
Well, we
it
call
one
him the
try.
Gootsmeister, but
Oh, nice.
that's an inner circle
It could be Thorn and Goot. That's awesome.
Thorn and Goot.
DJ Goot.
He's a
But-
DJ, man.
Oh,
DJ
hey.
Goot.
Can I make a quick comment?
Briefly, before we get called.
Apparently, David Ortiz has reportedly finished 3rd in the Boston mayor's race. He had the most write-in votes of anybody.
Oh
Good
my
for him.
gosh.
So,
Big
moving
yeah.
on to college football action. Last week,
What?
there was interesting games, I'm sure. What games interested you last week? Surprised you?
How terribly Northwestern ended up giving up the game to Nebraska.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
ridiculous.
gosh. A 49-yard touchdown pass from... It wasn't Martinez. It was a backup.
It was,
Martinez was out. I think it was
yeah.
Armstrong. Martinez is out.
Armstrong
again
or
this week, too.
Kellogg.
I think it
I
was
think it's
Armstrong
Kellogg.
at the end.
It might have been Kellogg or Art. It was
I'm
one of
not
those.
sure.
I think it was Armstrong.
But
I'm
they
not
pretty
sure.
much won
That
on
was
a last
wild.
second pass.
It
They did.
hit the Northwestern guy's helmet, and it bounced into the
I
Nebraska
thought he
guy's
hit it.
hands.
He could have batted that down, I thought, but he batted it up. Or
Yeah.
maybe it was his
And
helmet.
I was
It was
looking
his
at
helmet, I'm
that.
pretty
It was
sure.
24-21,
They
5
were
seconds.
so
And I was like,
lucky.
we are going to win.
It was the Hail Maryiest of all Hail Marys.
Wait, do you
just
like
choked it up
Northwestern?
there.
I wanted Northwestern to win.
I like rooting for Northwestern.
I don't
I know.
like Northwestern personally, but
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted them to win. And they were on the verge, and
Okay,
then
so
they...
that's Nate's game.
Yep.
Josh, do you have one yet?
I was trying to find that one.
James, do you
I'll
have one yet?
go non-top 25. Penn State, Illinois overtime. Pretty good game. Penn State bounced
Yeah.
back from getting destroyed by Ohio
Penn State
State.
goes-
And really,
Overtime
Penn
quite a
State
bit.
was up quite a bit in that game, too.
Yeah.
Illinois made a comeback.
Penn State has
Game
dramatic
short.
finishes this year.
Just picking an interesting game.
Yeah.
The Battle of Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan
Yeah.
State over Michigan.
Ooh, wow.
I was surprised at how badly Michigan
I
lost.
thought, because
And
they're both
I'm-
pretty
I'm-
competitive. I
Because
thought it'd be a
Michigan
little
State
closer.
has a very, very good defense.
I'm very scared of what Michigan's going to do this weekend.
Good.
Michigan play Nebraska. Good luck with
Michigan State.
that. Have fun.
No, we play Michigan.
Oh, it's Michigan?
we play
Oh,
Michigan.
I thought you
Oh,
were
And
saying.
they're
that's not
gonna-
so bad. Play
But they're
Michigan
gonna
State.
be coming back with a vengeance after that loss.
Well, maybe you
But
guys
Nebraska,
too. after
but
just
Nebraska
winning.
has a little bit of momentum, after getting by the skin of their teeth.
And once again, not having our starting quarterback, that's gonna be awesome.
Really,
It's gonna
Weren't
be-
if you
you
look at
worse with your starting
Victoria.
quarterback in there?
I know.
Victoria, if you look at it, the backups have played better than Martinez.
Yeah,
In
you
2
were
games.
worse with him in there.
in the beginning of the season when Martinez was in his stride, he was fine.
Mhm.
But then they
And
took
then
him out
injury.
and they revamped the offense to fit a run offense more than a pass offense. And then they tried to put Martinez back in there, and it didn't work because they changed it. That's what happened. They
And he was coming off an
They
injury,
don't.
too.
They don't know.
And he's
They
battling
don't know
injury.
what to do.
How about the dud of a game of the week with Florida State, Miami?
Gosh.
Yes.
I was thinking about maybe bringing that one up, but I was like, wow, that's just
So
a blowout.
wasn't that one like a 21-point spread? And I was like, oh no, that's too much. Yeah.
And Texas
About
Tech-
that.
Texas Tech lost once again, so they
Yeah,
lost 2 weeks
Tech's
in a row.
fallen.
Did we call it this week?
No, we didn't call it this week.
I thought I called
In Fresno, did they win?
Yep, there's some.
Yeah,
Dang
that's
it.
nobody.
They go out
I
with
could have
Wyoming
sworn I
next
called
week.
Oklahoma.
Oh.
to beat.
Do you even know
You
they
did.
didn't even play Oklahoma? They played Oklahoma State.
Yeah, what? That's what I mean.
There's a difference. They played Oklahoma the
Cowboys.
week
In my
before.
context, no.
They played
You
Oklahoma
called
the
the
week before.
Oklahoma game right.
Yeah, they played Oklahoma then Oklahoma State back to back. So you
I thought I
called
called
the
that one.
Oklahoma game.
No, you
Or
didn't
Tech.
call.
I thought Tech could have done a little bit. I thought they could have at least gone one loss, but
That was pretty much just that. Oh man, they had 2 21-point quarters.
Man.
Yikes. And then Texas Tech had a 21-point quarter.
At halftime, it was 28-24.
It was all. Basically, they won by that first quarter. Look at this. Look at the
Yeah,
flop.
I know.
how about UTEP? Go Miners. They were up 7-2 on
Go
A&M.
Niners.
Go Miners!
They were up 7-2 on A&M, and then they got destroyed.
And then Wisconsin just pulled away from Iowa, too. Iowa was keeping it close.
Georgia and Florida, the battle of the injureds. Both those teams are just falling apart to injury. Florida lost another lineman. I think
Oh,
he
jeez.
did something either to his elbow or his knee, so he's out for the season again. That's number 9, I think, for Florida injuries.
Yeah, both
they've
those
had.
teams. are
Driscoll.
getting
They've just
destroyed
gone
by that.
downhill because of injuries. It's been terrible for them.
And you
too.
could say that part of it is Driscoll being out too. Their offense isn't the same.
And Georgia lost a lot of key guys. It's
Yeah.
been rough for both of
It really has been.
Georgia's not even ranked.
No,
them.
they're
Neither of
not.
them are.
It's fallen all the
No,
way up.
Neither Florida.
Ooh, Purdue got handled.
Ohio State handles everybody.
Ohio State is up,
Ohio
but
State,
I don't know.
I still think they're going to be undefeated by default.
But
It's
you don't
going to
think
be
they'll make
very
the-
I
hard
think
for
it's
them to
deep
get
on
in the
my also-
BCS
Yeah.
though,
I also
because
think,
they need help.
I guess.
They need Florida State to lose, Alabama to lose.
Well, yeah.
and
Are you
Oregon
talking
to
for the
lose.
championship game?
Yeah.
Because there's so many undefeated teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their
They're
schedule
still
wasn't
eight.
especially
There are
strong.
still 8 undefeated teams.
And
It's amazing.
yeah, they'll get in
Well,
one
when
of
you
the
play
big
a bunch of
bowls.
bad teams, it kind of
It's
happens.
amazing.
They'll get in one of the big bowls. It's just
Oh yeah.
All
I
right.
mean,
They're-
I don't think they'll be able to get into the championship.
They have a tougher schedule than like Northern Illinois, but
Well,
Right. Everybody does.
Yeah.
The
No,
thing
no,
is,
no,
the
Hard.
weakest schedule in college football is Old Dominion. In fact,
We'll
Old
go.
Dominion's
How are
not
they
even
doing?
undefeated.
Go
They're not.
How are they doing?
They don't
5
have a
and
very
4.
good record. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Win this.
Wins.
They do have some wins. They won this week.
Oh,
So they
nice.
have some-
Go.
Old Dominion. Right. So, how about some news stories?
All right.
Texas football coach Matt Brown says the University of Texas hit a home run by hiring Arizona State's Steve Patterson to be the new men's athletic director. And as you know, Arizona State's athletic program has really taken an upswing these past few years, especially their football program. They've been doing very well in the Pac-12. So, what does this say for the University of Texas, and what does it say more for Arizona State?
For Texas, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but you could say when Mac Brown does leave, Patterson's gonna be able to know who the next coach is right away.
No, I think Mac Brown might be trying to get some brownie points with them because there's been a lot of talk about Nick Saban possibly going
He's
to
not
Texas.
going to leave, though.
I don't think
He's-
he will.
They said if he goes anywhere, it'd be
It'd
Texas.
be Texas.
Yeah.
They
But-
have the funds.
I think Brown's trying to get some job security that he's losing by underperforming. But he's signed through like 2020.
Well, but hasn't the team won
18.
4 straight games now?
They're playing
I don't
better.
think they've lost since he was kind of in the whole
Hot
rumors
seats, yeah.
of hot seats.
They have been doing better.
They
I
have
give them
been.
credit. They beat Oklahoma, which is huge.
Yeah,
And,
that was pretty much the
turning
upstart,
point.
the turning
yeah.
point.
I think that's kind of the sealer for him, at least for this year.
At least this year, yeah.
Fair
But
enough.
speaking
Depending
of
on
the-
what he plans on doing
But this is
afterwards.
about the athletic director, not about
Sure.
the coaching position.
For ASU, yeah, he's. Well, I don't know.
How much of a loss is it for Arizona State?
Well, a big one because he's kind of revamped that whole organization, getting the right coaches to coach these players. Arizona State, 3 years ago, I think they were kind of on the downside. The next 2 years, though, including this year, they have really improved in the football aspect. They could get better at football, basketball, and they could get better. What was the other sport? There was
Baseball?
one.
Is it big?
Base.
Well,
no,
they,
it
they
wasn't
changed.
baseball.
They changed their logo and whole scheme to be. It was more of a new Oregon
the-
kind of thing.
You mean like uniforms?
Yeah, and they changed their logo from
It's just
the
kind of the devil.
It's the Trident.
Yeah, the trident.
Trident. Yeah.
That's it.
So I don't know.
But-
You have Rich Rodriguez at Arizona, so you have some competition there. So I don't know.
So, but
Arizona,
anyway,
right?
it's a big loss for Arizona State, but a huge gain for Texas.
UT. Fucking.
And as the season gets to about the halfway part, we are getting Heisman hype.
Oh boy.
As fun as that is. So before anything, because I want to know kind of who you guys are watching as of right now, but before anything, are you surprised with the list that's come out? Because ESPN's released their top 12 list. Are you surprised? With
I have not seen the top 12.
Who's that?
Well,
A&M
I
is-
will name them.
Manziel's probably in there.
No, the A&M receiver is Mike Evans.
Mike Evans?
He deserves to be on the list.
I will. Well, when you pick who you want to choose, you can pick anybody. It doesn't have to be on the list, so you can pick him. I know,
Pick
right?
like a
Condescending.
USD player,
I'm
man.
so nice
Still-
about
still
things.
way
So the
outside
list
the
on
box.
ESPN's experts poll, which was released on November 5th, and I'm not sure if it's been updated yet or not, but so far what they have, and this is going from top to bottom, so the ones that had the most votes to the ones that had least votes. Marcus Mariota from Oregon, Jameis Winston from Florida State, Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M, Bryce Petty from Baylor, A.J. McCarron from Alabama, Kadeem Carey from Arizona, Melvin Gordon out of Wisconsin, Jordan Lynch from Northern Illinois, Taj Boyd from Clemson, Leish Seastrunk from Baylor. I don't know.
Lachey.
Okay. Lachey Seastrunk from Baylor. Derek Carr from Fresno State, Aaron Donald from Pittsburgh, Mike Evans from Texas A&M, Braxton Miller from Ohio State, and Connor Shaw from South Carolina. And this has been updated from when I reviewed it because there was definitely not a defensive tackle the last time I looked at this. So,
There's a D tackle on there?
Aaron Donald.
Oh, that's Pittsburgh. Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Wow.
So there are, out of the 12, there are 5 positions, I believe, if I count it correctly, that are not quarterback.
I just
And
don't.
the rest are quarterbacks.
I just don't know if they're ever going to give it to a non-quarterback or running back because receivers and defenders have not won in a while. But Mike Evans,
Mike
He is
Evans
impressive.
deserves to be on this list.
he is almost unstoppable.
He is on the list.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he deserves to be on this list, saying that he isn't.
He should be a little higher, I think.
But looking at some players that I don't think are going to win it, Jordan Lynch, because he's in a very crappy conference.
Shut the back.
Connor Shaw, even though he's with an SEC team, I just don't think he's Heisman hopeful. And then one more, I would have to say, I hate to say it, but Fresno State and Derek Carr. I don't think he'll
One
be
thing
in
that
there.
surprised me was of this list, 6 are seniors. And usually when you see this, you see a lot more of the upperclassmen of the seniors. So I was a little bit surprised to see that so low. I mean, 6 isn't a low number. It's like half.
That's
but
not 12, is it? Is that 12
I think
players?
it's 12.
I don't think it is. It can't be.
Oh, it's like 15.
Okay.
My bad. So that's an even
Mariota's
worse
good, though.
ratio, 6 out of 15, to be fair.
Yeah. But really, the guy that
And I
I
don't think there's a lot
love,
of juniors.
the guy that I love watching play is Mariota.
He
I
is
love
You were gonna
how
say
he
that.
so
plays.
versatile.
And it's not because I'm kind of going in the direction of loving the Oregon Ducks. It's just I love the way he plays. And, I hope this Heisman curse, if he does win it, I hope it doesn't affect him in the NFL because he could be a great quarterback in the NFL with his style of play.
And Jameis Winston, too. He's only a freshman.
Yes.
And he's being...
Redshirt freshman.
Yeah, so he's in that Johnny Manziel kind of thing. But he's being impressive, and he doesn't seem to have the personality, to put it, of Johnny Manziel right now.
Yet. Johnny Manziel
Yet.
didn't have the personality his
Well, yeah.
redshirt
I think part of
freshman
also
year,
Winston, I
or at
think-
least it wasn't as
notable.
exemplified.
I also
Yeah.
think Winston was hurt by this last week's game against Miami.
He had 2 picks.
Yeah. That's painful.
But he's
And
still
Heisman to
24 and 6. But look at Mariota's stats.
watch. Mariota hasn't thrown a pick.
Hasn't
Mariota's
thrown
going to be
a ball.
hard to beat. Winston's a
really,
contender,
in
but
my opinion, it's Winston and Manziel to face off against Mariota.
As
Even
far,
though I hate to say Manziel, but he's up
as
there.
far as like the bottom of the list goes, I think Mike Evans and Braxton Miller are a little lower than they probably
yeah,
should be.
I don't get that.
That being said, I don't really have much issue with the way everybody's ranked. If you're looking purely, especially if you're looking purely at stats, it's really hard to argue with
What-
Mariota.
Now they're big on that Heisman moment thing, like when Manziel beat Alabama. They look for like one specific game or moment, and
Which really, you could say Mariota's game is tonight.
it's a huge game
Against
against
Stanford.
at Stanford. So
Yeah, at
it's gonna
Stanford,
be a
too.
tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be his, I guess, what do you call it?
Heisman moment.
No,
Or-
not even that. Like his
Statement game.
game. What do you call it when he has to perform?
Statement game.
Statement game. That's what it is. Yep. I couldn't think
I
of
just
the word.
said it. But
I didn't
no,
hear you.
I don't know.
Apparently.
As far as the rankings go, also, I wouldn't have much problem with switching up Bryce Petty and Johnny Manziel, but that's just me.
Bryce Petty's playing.
Especially-
I believe
especially
they
with-
all are Manziel haters.
Especially
Well, if
when
you're
Bryce
going- if
Petty
you-
has his team undefeated.
Also, if you take into account like character and that kind of stuff, because as you say, like the best team, we've argued about this in the past, whether it should be just the best player, or the best stats, or the best team, and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of a combination of everything. You also have to take into account that personality.
I don't know. Manziel's going to be hurt a lot by his off the field.
I think so as well.
Also,
but I think
stats wise,
if
his
you're
stats
like,
his stats are even better than they were last year. Not rushing, but passing wise, he's improved in that
yes
kind
and
of
no,
stuff.
he does have a lot more interceptions.
Yes.
Yeah, he has more interceptions.
Very
he has a
elusive.
lot less rushing yards, but he has a much higher completion percentage, more
But I
touchdowns.
think the rushing goes to him being injured too. He did injure his knee.
Him
this
being
season,
injured,
too.
is the running game for Texas A&M doing a little better? Is there
I
other
honestly-
people
Yeah, a
actually
little
moving the
bit.
ball?
Molina in the backfield is kind of their
so
main
he has a
guy.
little more help than he did before.
But you also have to look at the strength of schedule they play too.
But we brought this up last season when we had Geno Smith. he had his outstanding numbers, but he lost.
Both
but
on a
in the
bad-
loss
a bad
stats,
team.
it was 5 losses. Manziel already has 2 on the season, so maybe
he has
that
two.
hurts
He has
his
two,
stock. That
albeit
hurts
one
him,
against
too.
Alabama.
But
Well, last year he had a loss or two.
he has 2 losses.
One loss?
For a Texas A&M. 2 losses to Texas A&M is different than 5 losses
It's
to West
SEC.
Virginia. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the
It's
losses he
popularity.
had.
But-
one
but
loss
we're
was against
saying that-
Alabama, and one. What was his other? What was their other loss?
Auburn.
Auburn.
Auburn's rising
Yeah,
up in the rankings, though.
Yeah, they are. They're 13 now. 18,
But
13,
it,
something.
They're moving
you know, I
up.
was just
that's
saying
right.
though, it's like Geno Smith had these great stats, and so does Johnny Manziel. But they're going to look at the loss.
Johnny Manziel doesn't have Geno Smith stats.
I know.
He doesn't
I
have Geno
know,
Smith stats.
but they're-
Don't compare.
I'm not. I'm just saying he has good stats.
Like him or not, he's a
Yes.
great
But they're
player.
gonna look at the loss statistic and be like, he has 2 losses.
But
already.
I mean, 2 losses for an SEC team is different, as James pointed out. For
Yeah.
2 losses or more losses.
For 2 losses
to
for a weaker
Western
conference.
team. Exactly.
Like Boise State quarterbacks in the past
They're
are
lighter.
always got messed up by that.
Exactly.
I think we talked about that last time.
Boise State basically just is repeatedly discounted.
They were totally discounted, and I'm always upset about that. So let's not get into it. But now that we've talked about that, we talked about how you feel about who is ranked and who's not ranked. Why don't you tell me who you're watching for the Heisman hype?
I'm watching Janaeus Winston overtake Mariota.
Jameis.
Jameis, whatever.
Aeneas? Did you say
I'm just
Jameis?
going-
He
I'm
said
the-
Jameis.
Did I read it wrong? Oh,
Yes.
I thought that was
It's-
an ad. My bad.
It's Jameis.
It's why it's famous Jameis.
I'm just calling him famous, whatever. Famous.
We can
person.
only pick one, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Plus, he has the benefit of coming after Manziel, where the committee is over that whole "we can't pick a freshman" thing.
I still think it's going to be hard for a redshirt freshman to win. I think he's going to have to do a lot.
It's still gonna be hard, but if
Maybe
it basically this is Mariota's to lose at this
That's
point.
it's
This really is because they put up such to put up stats and everything like that, and he still hasn't thrown a pick. If he finishes the season and kind of, I don't want to say coasts, but kind of goes status quo the rest of the way and doesn't throw more than 2 more picks, it's basically
It's his in the
It's
bag.
his. But if he goes and has like a 2-pick game or something like that, then it starts to get iffy if Winston continues to keep having these big games.
Mariota would be kind of a safe pick, but I'm gonna go with Mike Evans just because he's probably not gonna win because he's a receiver. But just because without him, I don't think Manziel puts up the numbers he does.
True.
He's tall,
6'5".
and he's fast. So he's a mismatch nightmare for
2 of
defenders.
his strides are compared to 4 of a cornerback.
Yeah, he's kind of
He has breakaway speed like no.
he's kind of like
and
Calvin
he could-
Johnson in college.
Yeah, and I was about to say that he could be the next Calvin.
I still
Johnson.
remember watching him in the Alabama game, and I was yelling at TV. I was like, "Why is he so big? He's too big. They got like 2 people on him. They can't
He had
stop
a game
him."
this year with like 4 or 5 touchdowns too.
But
Like, he's
anyway,
some good ones.
So Nate, your pick.
since I can't pick 2, I'm gonna go with probably the leader right now in Mariota. I just love the way I can't praise this kid enough. I just love the
Great
way
player.
he plays. I do.
He's even good running the ball too.
Oh yeah, he's fast. He's
He
sneaky
has
fast.
9 touchdowns in the season, over 2,000 yards passing. He could finish over 3,000 if he keeps it up.
Look at that QBR. Look at that.
94.3
That's pretty.
QBR.
Look at
Do you know
that.
who has a higher QBR than that? Bryce Petty with 95.5.
Yep.
Just saying.
He only has one
He's-
pick.
Just
You
saying.
know, look out for Bryce Petty.
I mean,
And I really think, even though it hurts to
It's
say it,
possible.
AJ McCarron might be out of this race.
AJ McCarron. I don't think he has the
He,
stats.
he, he probably doesn't
I
have
don't
the
think he
stats.
does. He's
and
not
Big
the
12 quarterbacks have done it. RG3,
AJ
Sam
McCarron, I think he's
Bradford.
going to be a really good quarterback. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. But at the same time, I think this season he's kind of getting. I mean, obviously he still has to throw the ball and have big plays, but a little closer to game manager type role,
Yeah.
just a little bit because they can.
He's not
Because they
flashy.
can.
He's not flashy.
He's not
quarterback.
flashy.
Basically, I'm assuming he's trying to do what Barkley couldn't do and just not mess everything up in the senior year,
Mhm.
not completely bomb.
And really, he'll enter the draft and he'll be picked in the first round, I think.
Oh yeah, I think he'll pick early in the first round.
It's-
I think he's top 10 really, but
He could really, he could have a game like he did last week against Tennessee, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and still be picked.
Right.
As long as he plays.
I mean, it's
consistent
not
ball.
flashy, but it's what you need.
And he seems to be a leader type.
Yeah.
So
I don't-
he'll control
I
a
don't
lot.
see why he wouldn't go first overall, but again.
I think it's possible. It's possible. I just don't think
They're
he'll
just
have
all-
the
We've
hype.
had this discussion before. We've had this argument before.
It'd be Anthony Bennett as
We're still
coach
arguing.
of sports.
Mhm.
to take the case.
So
You know
we're
where
going to
show's
take a
about?
look
What's
at
up?
next week before we take a break again. So you all get to pick your one game to look forward to this week, and I know Nate already
I will
has
not.
his picks.
I will not be biased, or I will not pick the team that.
But I think you're gonna pick.
Yeah.
Okay, is
I
James
will.
gonna pick it instead?
Sure, I guess.
Let me
I don't know.
I will pick.
You
I
can-
remember there was one game
There was some Tuesday and Wednesday games too. If you guys want to pick those.
which are already done.
Yeah.
Bowling Green
There's a
destroyed
lot of interesting
Miami Ohio hasn't won.
games tonight.
You're 0-9.
There's 3 games
There's a lot of interesting ones
Good.
tonight.
I know.
Wow.
You can pick those. They're fair
Wow.
game.
Which I was gonna pick one of those tonight, but I'm gonna stray away from it.
There's some
because-
trap games. Florida State at Wake Forest can be a trap. But that's not my game.
That's not my game.
That's not worth
Kidding.
mentioning.
It's just worth mentioning, but I'm not
That's
gonna
not my
pick
game.
it. So who wants to start? Nate, start because he already knows his
Go
game.
ahead, pick the game.
Well, I
Second game.
don't know
You don't know your game.
because I
now?
was.
Just pick
You
it.
didn't
Just pick
change.
it.
Just pick
Okay,
it. It's
I'm
fine.
gonna pick Oregon and Stanford.
Okay.
It's inevitable.
It's-
We knew that was gonna happen.
It's the biggest game tonight, pretty much.
It's the biggest game of the week. I
Are we
think.
just going with the ones that
No.
interest us?
Yes.
Alabama, LSU. I
The
think
ones
is
you're
even
gonna
better.
watch.
This is gonna sound
You
like brown nosing. That's really not.
The only reason I say
Nebraska and Michigan.
it is because it's SEC.
I don't even know if
It
I'm
is
gonna
too
watch.
bad.
I'm
Alabama
scared.
loses.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
That's
LSU
why
has
it's
like
big
2
game.
losses, yeah.
That's why it's a big
interesting.
game. But LSU has really.
If you can't
Like-
say it to the class, don't say it at all.
We're talking about
I'm having a
LSU,
little
Alabama,
side
but
I know, we can
conversation.
I'm
say it to the
going.
class.
I'm gonna go with another game tonight. Oklahoma, Baylor. I'm going with a lot of offensive games for some reason, but Baylor puts up so many points, and Oklahoma can
I
too.
kind of want to
need
go
it.
with an upset for Oklahoma, but Baylor just the offense. There's so
I think
much
Baylor's
gonna pull
offense.
it off.
If Baylor's
So
undefeated at
much.
the end of the year, and so is Ohio State, I don't know what's gonna happen. That's
Query
gonna
though, okay, because I don't really watch a ton of these games, is Baylor's defense passable?
Because
their offense just puts up like 80
Their
points.
defense,
Their
I think,
defense is
actually
okay.
gives up 35
Yeah,
points a
their
game.
defense
So
is
their defense is pretty
is
So their
okay for
defense-
their offense.
Yeah,
Because
so
their
Unless their
yeah.
offense
their
is
defense
so good,
is
it's
only
okay.
okay because it can be bailed out by a really high
Yes.
scoring offense.
And they have to be on the field so much that their offense just goes down the field and
So
scores.
how about LSU, Alabama, since you guys took all the good
We were just talking kind of to the
Yeah,
side about
we were
that.
talking about that, saying like that game might actually be bigger than the Oregon-Stanford game
I
tonight.
think it has more implications.
Because Bama is number 1. If they get knocked out, they're not number 1.
I think it has a lot more implications.
In which that means either Oregon or Florida State, depending on what they do this week, one of those teams.
Do you think
will move
Stanford could be a title contender if they win tonight?
If they beat Oregon, yeah.
Because they're number 5.
But they
so,
have to beat Oregon. They
yeah.
have to beat
How
Oregon.
many
And then if
losses?
LSU could pull,
They're undefeated.
that's a stretch.
Well,
But
they've won
Aren't
losses.
they?
They're not
Oh.
undefeated. We talked about all the undefeateds, remember?
yeah, I don't know. They're number 5 though, so the BCS is.
Oh, they
Let's be
lost
honest.
to Utah.
That's a bad
Yeah,
loss.
that was the
It's
upset.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
speaking of upsets, I think Wyoming over Fresno State
I saw
might
that,
happen.
too. Yeah,
Wyoming's better than people expect, and I'm not saying that because they almost beat Nebraska.
It's in. It's at Wyoming. So
It's
Yes.
at Wyoming.
I could see that being a potential upset. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying potentially for the next undefeated person to fall down.
the Cowboys.
Fresno State, look out!
Yeah, Wyoming Cowboys.
All right, so we are going to
Their
take
uniforms.
a short break and come back with some more football and maybe some other sports as well. So keep listening to Make Your Point here on 91.1 Cat Radio. So we're going to say corner.
So, depending on how many people show up, I'm figuring it might be possible if, like, there's only one court there and we're fighting for it, that we can just scrimmage against the Frisbee team.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Just
I'm,
like,
I'm
screw
up
it,
for
we'll just
another
scrimmage.
I'm up for another scrimmage.
Yeah,
I had fun.
I
That was
it's
fun
game
last time.
experience.
Yeah.
Right now, this is all practice for the playoffs. That's why I look at this. Because worst case scenario, we're 500. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that
Milwaukee
whatsoever.
Bucks guys.
And we actually won a game without having to forfeit.
Hello. Hi, Jess. Hi.
I love you, Jess.
No.
She's not yours anymore.
She's my lover.
No,
Yes.
she is not.
Yes,
Because
she
you already
is.
have another lover.
Jess,
Jess, you're my lover, right?
No.
You're my lover.
I'm a taken lady.
No,
you're my
she's
lover.
dating somebody, but so are you. But
So
you
is
need
she,
some
but we're
other
both
person to
lovers.
go to.
No,
So that's me.
we're going
Everybody's
on in
taken.
5 seconds.
Okay. No, bad.
Welcome back to. No, we're not playing that. Okay, my mistake. We're here on Make Your Point, not Music Hour just yet. Almost, but I'm Victoria Harmony. With me is Josh Earl, Nathan Poole, and James Hagedorn. For those of you that were watching the Ustream, you also saw Jessica Richter pop her head in here briefly.
Kind of making a little cameo shot with her lady friend over there.
Always. Kind of being on each other's shows all the time.
You guys never separate.
And then I just randomly show up.
Hint,
You
hint.
Hint.
I am all for making it awkward.
Wow.
I am the little kid in this situation, just watching it all unfold.
Isn't it fun?
It's part of being a freshman.
So-
It's part of being part of our station.
So, guys, you know what time it is?
Savannah State Corner.
It's
The
Savannah
worst
State
thing every
Corner
time.
time. So, last game, Savannah State played, drum roll,
Let me
South Carolina State.
Can I take a shocking guess? They lost.
45-9.
Ah!
Hey,
They
9
lost
points.
pretty handily.
45-9.
That's 3 field goals
They
or a
had
botched
7 first downs.
Hey,
which is awesome.
You know what? Don't look at that last week. I'm looking forward to next week.
I'm looking forward to next week, too.
The
Because
coward.
we're always looking forward to next week. So, Savannah State had 7 first downs for 97 total yards.
Oh, it was a touchdown. It was,
97 total. I'm just thrilled by that. They were doing so much better too, and this week it's just like
How
yeah,
many
let's
QBs
not.
do they use?
They had 109 passing yards.
How many QBs do they use?
They used 3.
Oh,
This
okay.
week.
So they had
A new
negative
one,
rushing
one we
yards.
Mixing
don't
it
know.
up. Mixing it up.
They used the one we don't know yet. They used Bostic, Prunty, and Hutchison.
Wouldn't it be
Who
awesome?
was 0 for 1.
Wouldn't it be
but,
awesome
you know,
if a player from Savannah State went to the NFL?
that'd be epic.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
It'd probably be their
No,
kicker.
they have
If
negative
anything,
rushing
it would be their
yards.
kicker.
Their kicker's not that bad.
They actually,
I know, that's what I said. If anything, it'd be
how'd
their
they
kicker.
Believe
get
it or not,
9?
I mean, they don't give him a whole lot of
Believe
opportunities,
it or
but
not, they
it's not
only
that bad.
had 97 total yards.
I
of
said that.
offense.
And more
I
passing yards.
said this.
So they had negative
But they
rushing
had
yards.
negative
Yeah.
rushing yards. They had
That's pretty
negative 12.
normal.
Their entire rushing yards was negative 12. They had no
Is it
positive
sad
rushing.
that I kind of want to transfer to their school just to like watch every game, be that fan stadium?
I
Yeah!
just
Be that
want to go
loyal
to their
fan.
games. Let's just go to
And it wasn't.
Guys, let's have a road trip and go to their games.
I'm not going to travel down to
Where
Georgia.
exactly? Is it in Georgia?
It's in Georgia. I want to go to Georgia.
Savannah.
I have friends in Georgia.
I don't want to go to Georgia.
It wasn't 3 field goals either. They scored, but I guess.
I don't like
There
that
wasn't a
too.
touchdown.
It's
Well, it
college
wasn't a
football.
passing
Some people
touchdown.
miss
It
extra
also
points.
wasn't a rushing touchdown
How'd they,
because they had
how'd they
negative
score?
points.
Because I saw they
3
scored.
field goals.
No, they scored a touchdown but failed to.
No, they
Probably-
didn't score a touchdown
no.
because
Are you
there's no
sure?
there's no passing touchdowns and there's no rushing
Well,
touchdowns.
look at the
And there's
kicking.
no receiving touchdowns.
Interceptions?
Interceptions. There's one interception, but there's no touchdown.
Okay. So
They
Uh,
only made one kick.
Kicking.
But they only made 1 kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd they score? Look at the scoring summary. See how they.
Okay, well, look at the
I-
scoring summary.
Oh, fumble return.
There we go. We just didn't count the
There we
fumbles.
go.
Yep, that was the first score of the game too.
And they went for a
Yes.
2-point conversion for
On a
whatever
run,
reason.
on a run. Why?
They're aggressive. They're like, oh,
Oh.
we're winning.
Hey, you know what makes it even worse though? Is that they gave up the go-ahead touchdown to the other team. Let me
less
count
than a
this.
minute.
41 seconds later.
Yeah.
41
That's-
seconds.
that's
All right.
wonderful.
They got the champagne out.
And then they
after
took
their-
the lead. And then they took the lead 97,
Yes.
and then gave up
A lot.
36.
So,
Or
let's
th-
talk about the quarterbacks.
38 points.
Bostic, who has become the main quarterback the past few weeks we've been talking about. He
Yeah.
went 11 for 23 for 105 yards.
You know what I kind of wonder?
No picks.
I wonder if he's the man on campus.
The BMOC.
The
Big
bad
man.
Oh,
man.
God.
The
I was like-
bad
man
My
on
brain just like
campus.
died there for a second. I was like, wait,
Did they-
what?
Prunty was only 1 for 2 with 4 yards. Which,
I wonder, how they're,
Peacock.
I wonder if they're viewed on campus like at all.
I wonder if they just hide because they're scared of
Hey,
being,
to be
like,
fair, when our team was
like
1-10, our players were still relatively.
Okay.
This is true. On South Carolina State's side, they had one quarterback they used, Q, who
Because
was
they only needed 1.
15 for 25 for 163 yards. He had 4 touchdowns and 1 interception.
It's passable.
It was
Why do you have
massive.
2 carries
Possible.
for negative 12 yards? Because the other ones are
Loss.
quarterbacks, but that's not even a quarterback. He had
Proctor had
You
10
get stacked
carries.
up.
negative 6 yards a run. That's
You get stacked up in the backfield.
They get ready for you to run because that's.
That's all they did. So they had 6 rushers that combined. Their top rusher, Proctor, had 10 carries for 16 yards. And then Barnes had 4 carries for 9 yards. Simmons, 2 for 4. And then Durham had 2 carries for negative 12
Okay.
yards by himself. Bostic had 8 carries for negative 14 yards by himself. And Prunty had 2 yards
Hold
for
up.
negative 15
A sack
yards.
is not considered a rush, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so there was an actual designed run play
8 times.
where Prunty got negative 17 yards.
15.
Nope, because
Oh,
he had a
never
long
mind.
of 2. So one
Right.
had 2 yards and the other
Right.
had
Oh my
negative
God.
17.
I'm with you. He averaged negative 7 points.
It was like
Wow.
a triple
Two.
reverse where he
No. He was evading pressure and just went back.
probably.
But it wasn't a sack. But
No, it wasn't a sack.
It was a read
Sacks
option.
don't count as
It
runs.
probably
read
was a
option, just running backwards.
He just got
bolted.
confused.
Hey, you know,
He just
we've
got
seen it before. I mean,
confused,
It's like the
guys.
defense is coming, run!
He
Go.
just got confused. It's fine.
Okay, now, you know I get confused relatively easily.
Yeah, we noticed.
But I know not to run toward my own end zone.
He forgot which one was.
You wanted to take a safety instead of getting
It's
tackled.
fine.
2 points is worth it.
You know, maybe we're bullies for this. I don't know.
And we're taking.
They're our
a little
unofficial
bit.
team.
We're giving them
covering
coverage.
We're giving them media.
Eh.
And
Sorry
to be
for
fair,
hating.
if this happened at USD, we would do the same thing to USD.
Yeah, the thing is, I did the same thing, and then everybody's like, no, we're not that bad. It's just this, this, and this.
And
Yeah.
this year we're all being that
Well,
way
what
anyway.
station outside of Georgia covers Savannah State?
Well, what station
Us,
outside of us
obviously.
covers USD?
What station inside of Georgia covers Savannah State?
I wonder if they have a student radio, because not every school has student
That's
radio.
me. I'm sorry. Yeah,
They
so-
have a baseball team.
Yeah, didn't they have like a decent girls basketball team or something like that?
Men's.
Men's?
We will discuss
Men's.
them because Savannah State Corner has expanded. So now we have
Go
more
Savannah
sports.
State.
Yeah, more awfulness.
More sports.
Hey,
So, anyways,
If you want to look
Anyways.
at volleyball, that's the epitome of awful.
we're getting
my
some
gosh.
volleyball. Don't ruin the surprise.
Okay.
We're still on football.
I'm
Savannah
just
State Corner
saying.
football.
It's
So
gonna
next
be-
week, I will mute you. Shush.
Okay, good.
Next
Hey, a
week,
mute is good in this
Savannah
situation.
State plays Howard, and Howard is 3-6. They are 2-4 in
Wait,
the MAC.
you say Howard? You mean they play the Buffalo Bills?
The Howard Bison. They play the
My bad.
Howard
I'm just looking at the
Bison.
logo. I'm sorry.
No, the Buffalo Bills don't have bison written in the red. That's how they.
That is the
That's how they
singular
avoid copyright.
difference.
That is
the
the
only
That's
same
how they
difference,
avoid
man.
It says
copyright. It's
bison.
like USD avoided copyright.
Because
with one
bar,
difference.
one bar, and apparently the
It's
letters
fine.
are situated
It's
differently.
fine.
Here's a fun fact, though. If you go down the hallway, okay, and if you're sitting in those sofas off to the side, if you look up, you see USD like emblazoned on things. I read it as DSU
Oh.
because
Wonderful.
like the way that it's like situated is like the letters are on
It's
top of each other.
USD.
Yeah, but it looks like the U's
So
behind, so it looks like
anyways,
DSU.
Howard played
Let's see.
last week. They played Delaware State and they lost 22-20, but they were on a 2-game win streak. So this might be one to
You know
watch
what?
out for.
I still think Savannah State can maybe pull this out if you stick with Bostic.
Bostic's
Yes.
good.
Stick with
Bostic's
Bostic.
actually kind of good. Like I like him.
Kick a lot of field goals.
I love this
Alright.
coverage.
Win by field goals.
Let's move on to volleyball for Savannah State because they did have some games.
Let me
this
guess, they
past
lost.
They probably
They
did.
had some games.
Yep, they did. They did.
I'm gonna guess they lost again.
They played on October 30th and November 3rd. Since we've been gone, they
gosh.
lost to Jacksonville University 0-3, and they lost to South
Like
Carolina
I
State
said, the
University
epitome.
0-3. So now their total record is
Have they won a set?
0-28. They've won 3 sets. They've won 3
You know,
sets this
I'm
season.
sure. I'm sure there are some schools somewhere that's 1-0. To be fair,
I'm sure.
I'm
be
sure
fair,
there
I'll
is.
go back through and count. Just to double check. See, there's one.
Research question.
Hey man,
one.
sign me up. I'll play volleyball. We can win some
Oh, they've
games.
only won. Oh, they must have won 3 sets last year. They've won
Yeah,
one
I
set
can play
this year.
volleyball.
One set this year. More than I have.
Yeah,
More than
exactly.
we have.
That's more than you've done, so you know.
Yeah, I can't.
But they
Using
did
that
get
logic,
swept.
can't make fun of them.
They did get swept by South Carolina State and Jacksonville State. Which were both MEA. Well, no, Jacksonville State wasn't. Excuse me. No, South Carolina State is an MEAC contender. They play North Carolina A&T State University on the 8th, which is tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Would it be safe to call it a 3-0 loss?
Would it be safe to call the sweep right now? Let's see
Yeah.
what their record is.
Unless they play that team that the football team played, the one without the logo.
Colgate. Or
Oh,
Colgate?
it's like Fort something. They didn't have a...
Fort Valley State.
Fort Valley State. There's another one that doesn't have a logo. That's Penn State.
That was their only win. Was Fort Valley State.
And it was close, too.
They won by a touchdown.
That's terrible. Oh, how can they be so
See,
terrible?
when Savannah State makes it big, you guys can say, like...
We
We
were
were
there
there
from the beginning.
We were there
We-
first.
We were there.
We
When
were
they
there to bring
nothing.
you the news of how
When-
bad Savannah State
When they move up
is.
to Division 1, you can say...
They are division.
You know,
Or
if I
FPS,
remember, you know,
sorry.
this will never happen because I'm going to be a teacher, so I'm never going to be a rich man. But if I were going to be a rich man someday and like giving out grants like and stuff, I'd give grants for the athletic program at Savannah State.
Over USD? Or...
Oh, yes. Yeah, you know, as much as I appreciate my education here, They get enough money from me. Yeah.
Ooh. Well, grants.
Throwing it down.
Yeah,
Like,
you
equal.
haven't heard
At
me
least
talk
go
Pretty
about
much,
USD.
you could go to Savannah State on a full ride scholarship.
So it looks like
money
the
to
team
both.
they're playing, this NCAT Aggies, look like they have about 6 wins. If I counted right, they don't have the totals anywhere. So it looks like about 6 wins on the season for them.
As long as they have a full team, they can probably.
How many players
So
actually
what's
play in their
six?
games?
Six
curious.
people. Well, on average, it depends because you have your 6 players. You have your libero that comes in, so that's 7. Depending how many you rotate, you can have up to 15.
Libero? What?
Libero,
It's
that's
the
what you-
defensive specialist that can only play in the back row.
Yeah, dude, get your volleyball term
Why
right.
don't you know volleyball?
He does.
James, did you know what a libero was?
I'll be honest, I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I knew it.
Why-
2 out of 4.
I play some pickup volleyball.
2
That's
out of
about.
4. I'm very
That's
upset.
pretty much it.
But
So
they
now
only
you know what it
have
means?
the 2 volleyball games
I'm
remaining.
happy I do.
They have the North Carolina A&T State game, and they have the North Carolina Central game,
Win
which
out.
will appear this weekend as well. I
Get your
believe
first win.
That's the
At least get a
last 2
win.
games they have. They didn't have any wins last season either. So hopefully they get at least one. So men's and
was
women's
on.
basketball. Remember they had that exhibition game.
Yes.
So let's see how that turned out for the men and the women.
Which, by the way, they don't even have our score for that scrimmage.
Well, I guess it wasn't really scored though, because we played ourselves.
It was kind of.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
While-
the Coyotes won. You know.
While you're searching for that, I'd like
I
to do a
already
shout
have it up,
Oh,
so it's too
my
late.
You can
bad.
listen
Let's give
live
a
to-
shout out and everything.
You can listen live to their games.
You can.
That's awesome.
They
You can
actually
listen live to our
won.
games. They campus. I know they won their exhibition game.
Armstrong Atlantic State.
This is the men's. Yes, against. If you don't remember, this happened on Halloween evening. It was against Armstrong Atlantic State University. They won. The men won 73-61. And interesting tidbit: the men are picked to rank 6th in the MEAC,
Well, they play Pitt next.
They're gonna
At
lose
Pitt.
that one.
They're going to get pretty bad.
and that occurs on tomorrow. Actually, they play them, and then they play Robert Morris on Saturday. So that's their next 2 games they have coming up. The women also won their exhibition game.
Almost by the same exact
73-62.
score.
Same team.
Yes, it was an exhibition. They just played back to back.
Seems like their basketball teams are much play at a higher
The
level.
men's,
Yeah, that's
the
where all
men's
that
were
money
better
is
last
invested.
year. The men's were actually quite
Yeah, probably.
impressive last year.
The
So
women's were
the-
kind of down, but they
Yeah,
did
the
improve.
women's are a little bit down, but the women have their first official game tomorrow as well. They'll play Columbia College, which is in South Carolina, and then they have a break for about a week when they play
Are
Charleston
they
Southern
technically considered?
University.
Are they technically considered
Ooh.
D1?
That's gonna be hard.
Baylor,
Savannah
Wow.
State. I
Is
would
this
probably say
technically
D2.
Yeah, could they make a tournament run?
I don't
Or
know,
no?
because there's like even schools in South Dakota, like DSU is D3.
Well, because
so
Northwestern
I'm not-
State made it to the tournament, so I guess they.
Well,
Yeah.
there's like
It is
300
there.
or so
If, you,
teams.
if you're like
Are they
D3,
D1?
One?
can
Yeah,
you
they're Division 1.
can you play like in football? Can you play like those really high schools if you're not D1, technically speaking?
No, usually Division 1
I think
plays
it has-
Division 1.
Okay, so they
Division-
are technically Division
Well,
One.
Division 2 can play up, but usually, like, it's just...
Well, I mean, I like there's some schools that are like D3 that occasionally play.
we were
Schools
division.
like
But-
DSU, for example. We play DSU
It's-
sometimes.
I
They're
know.
D3.
But if you're comparing the FBS and FCS, I'm guessing you're saying because they're FCS in football that you don't think they're Division 1 and things else. All FCS and all FBS teams are Division 1. But in basketball, there's no differentiation between FBS and FCS. It's all Division 1.
We were
Everybody just
division.
plays.
We were Division 2 in football in 2010.
Well,
we
that was
played,
before we transferred
yeah,
to Division 1.
but we did
yes.
play Minnesota, which
Yes.
was an FBS school and Division 1 team. So
But sometimes they'll have those money grab games.
yeah, and that's pretty much what that one was.
Yes.
And we won.
So if Savannah State
So-
makes a tournament, that'd be pretty awesome.
I know. Maybe we could go cover them.
Make it a Cinderella run.
Oh, God.
Except we
I'd really rather not.
Except
go
we
to
really-
Georgia.
That'd be a long drive.
Well, actually,
We
the
don't have-
tournament,
It'd be
you don't
worth
know where it is.
We don't have the money to do that.
We're going to Rapid all those times this year.
Are we actually for
Why
sure
not?
going to do that?
So, how about USD football since we're done with the
Oh,
state corner? USD football. Last game we played the Youngstown State Penguins.
Gosh, that was a tough one.
Hashtag Gwyn Nation.
Say Queen Nation.
That was a sad game.
So the final score was 38-34 with Youngstown State getting the go-ahead touchdown in the final 30 seconds, if I recall correctly, because I was
Yeah.
Good D.
Gosh,
there. They tried hard. They tried hard.
They tried.
it was such a sad game. I thought we could have.
But,
I
you know,
know.
looking at the outcome, it was a good game by our offense. It was a terrible game by the defense.
It's sad because
Defense
their defense
didn't
has
show.
been on all year.
The
Yeah.
defense didn't do terrible, though. I mean,
Yeah.
towards the end, they started slipping, but throughout the game, they didn't do too bad. They were on the field a lot, to be fair. So, I mean, they were getting tired. towards
Yeah.
the end. If we're going to look at total offensive yards, USC had 388 to Youngstown State's 508.
And that stat's really interesting too because we still scored 34 points and we had under 400. And I think they beat us by like 200 yards, right?
It was 388 to 518.
Oh, okay. So about 100 more.
Our defense did put us in good field position sometimes with some turnovers. But
yeah, that was a big key.
Our defense, the big thing that I caught from our defense was the forced fumbles.
Yes.
There was 3 forced
they're
fumbles.
good at doing
and
it.
we recovered
they
all
were
of them.
great, yeah.
When people are wrapped up, they go for the ball. And they start hacking. But Youngstown State's pretty legit.
They remind me of a Chicago Bears defense.
They just go after
when
the
the
ball.
secondary just go after the ball.
Yep. Yank at it.
And the coaches teach that so well.
A few more stats. Passing for USC, Kevin Earl, obviously our main quarterback now. Apparently Vanderbilt got a pass in there. I didn't see him.
Yeah, he came in a little bit and kind of had a couple of plays.
Yeah, he was running the offense a few times.
Yep.
Earl was 16 for 31 with 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also was not sacked in this game.
No picks.
Interesting stat. And Vanderbilt was 1 for 1 with 10 yards. And that was just a single 10-yard pass. So all in all, 229 yards for our passers for 2 touchdowns and no sacks at all, which is great for our line. Because usually our offensive line isn't that spectacular, but that's great news. Looking at the other side, Kurt Hess, the quarterback for the Penguins, he was 22 for 26. Wow, that's a good percentage.
Yeah.
22 for 26 with no interceptions. He also had 283 yards with 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 5 times.
They really could not stop Kurt Hess. And really, I think when you were there at the game, you saw Jody Webb, the speedster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Talk about another Darren Sproles-like player.
No kidding.
Oh,
holy crap.
And Martin Ruiz,
and then,
too.
And actually, Joe English on my show last night compared him to a Stephen Logan when he was here at USD. Like the exact same form of Stefan Logan.
Stefan Logan was at USD?
Yeah.
He was.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He
came quite a while ago.
And then he got picked up
by
the
Steelers
first.
He was drafted by the Steelers. He's bounced around for like 4
He's not on a
teams.
team right now.
Oh, that's right.
He's just a returner at this point.
Yeah.
Like they tried to use him as a running back, it didn't work.
But the interesting player to me on the Penguin side was definitely Martin Ruiz. He definitely stepped it up. Yeah. He was 23. He had 23 carries for 136 yards.
Wow. Yeah.
They were in the ball pretty well.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns on his own, and he was also, I think, one of the punt returners or kick returners.
Kick returners.
Yeah, kick returners.
He was a kick returner.
And he got a lot of yardage on those kicks. It seemed like we could not.
But our special teams is down.
Our special teams do lack.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he got at least a 35 or a 40, and that should not happen on any special team.
Hey, but Bergner 3 for 3 field goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen either very often. Usually he's not 100%. Usually he misses at least
one. Game. Made all of his extra points, too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a given sometimes. So.
For USC, Trevor Bauman had 16 carries for 78 yards. He had no touchdowns. I would have liked to have seen him get a few more carries. I would have.
Who is this?
Bauman.
Yeah,
Bauman did go out with injury late, though.
I know. But, I mean, I would have liked to see him get more. Jordan Roberts, I know, was injured as
well,
but he came back, and he did come back and get some really strong runs, and he really pushed in for a touchdown.
And there was one run that actually could have changed this whole momentum of the game that was called back on a holding penalty.
Yes,
that was a huge
That was pretty much the downfall of our team.
That was upsetting.
And that happened in the 4th when we could have possibly iced the game right there.
Yeah, it was a tough one to take. Yeah, but I guess Bama could have got the ball a little bit more.
Ruiz had 85 yards on his kickoff returns altogether. So
and how many did he return? 2, 3?
3. 3 for 85.
And so pretty much an average of.
With his long was
20.
51.
Okay.
His longest return was 51 yards. So I mean that.
So he had
that should happen. I mean
even
on a bad special teams, like a 51-yard return just shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't.
That's like an average of 26 yards per kickoff. That's a good stat. Doesn't get any easier this weekend, by the way.
Ooh, Montana.
Montana, Joe Glenn's alma mater. Or, not alma mater.
Former
job. Because he came.
But yeah,
Montana's always up there.
One last stat on there. Riley Donovan's still keeping a strong 4 receptions for 103 yards.
Whew, big plays.
He's been the leading receiver the last 3 games.
He is the first Coyote to record 3 consecutive 100-yard
Cool.
games
Awesome.
since Dan Skelly of 2008.
Wow. I would have thought Pavel did, but I guess not.
No.
Guess not. So, as Nate mentioned, we play the Montana Grizzlies.
Montana,
This
which
is
is
a
like 12th
Saturday.
ranked or something.
It's a non-conference game.
It is our final non-conference game.
And Montana is 7-2 and 4-2 in Big Sky.
Yep.
Yeah. And apparently Joe Glenn coached them.
We just
Yeah,
said
that was
this.
his former head coaching position.
where we got
They're
it
always
from.
pretty good, though.
I was reading.
Montana,
Last year we kept it close at their home
Missoula,
turf.
I think.
Yeah,
Last year we blew it in Montana. Let's not sugarcoat
that's why I said
that.
Hey,
we kept it close.
Can I have a
We
slight
blew it.
segue and explain why we have a possibility of winning this game?
Sure.
I like numbers. So I'm looking at numbers. And along with numbers is this thing, momentum.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Our team has relative momentum. We had a turnover-free game this last Saturday. We forced 3 turnovers. We've been playing pretty well this
We had one
season.
fumble, but we recovered it.
Yeah. We've been playing pretty well this season. We lost this last game, and we lost the game before that.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah.
2-game losing.
But this was a really close game, so we have a little momentum in our favor. Montana, I'm just going to look at the last 3 games for them, because before that, they played like UC Davis and whatever. Last game, they won against Sacramento State. 51-48 in overtime. Okay, barely squeaking against Sacramento State, which is 4-5. The week before that, they lost to Eastern Washington. Not an
Well,
especially great team.
Eastern Washington did beat Oregon State.
They were up there a couple of weeks ago for defending champions, but they were beat out by
But still,
NDSU. I believe.
still lost to Eastern Washington, and the week before that, barely beat Cal Poly in overtime.
Yeah.
So they're basically squeaking by in these last few games or losing. We might
But
have the edge in
when-
momentum.
When is USD losing? They're losing at the end to these teams that can make those drives at the end. That's what happened this last week. We were ahead. We were
Well,
doing
we need to
well
step up
until
and
the
not give
fourth
up a
quarter.
30-second touchdown.
But that's what Montana's going to do. is they're getting these runs.
I'm
at
just
the
saying
last
we have a
seconds.
chance in the case of
I never
momentum.
said we didn't have a chance.
Especially if Riley Donovan keeps being insane.
But we need more than
catching.
just Donovan. We
We
need
need defense. Our defense is very good
and Roberts
overall.
I think,
We
as
could
well.
play with a lot of teams because Youngstown State's at the top of the whole FCS, and we almost beat them. So
Like Star needs to
Are
have
they?
another big
No,
game.
they're not.
they've only lost once, so it's to Michigan State.
Yeah, they're not at the top of the FC.
They're not the very top, but they're top.
They're
5,
top.
They're
10.
top tier.
Yeah.
I think
They're
Star
definitely
needs to have another big game.
Which he was kind of non-existent this last weekend.
Still
When
leads
I was
the
calling the
conference in
game, I
sacks
maybe called his name once.
Still leads the conference in sacks and TFLs.
I think people get.
I think they'll have some motivation too. I'm just reading like some of the game notes. This one was interesting. He stands one shy of the USD record for sacks.
Oh,
for
because
career.
it's 22?
27.
Oh, 20.
Because he has 26. All of them solo. That's
So
actually-
he would tie it, right? Or is he tied right now?
I think he's one back of tying it.
Well, yeah, cool. So
You
he
should be
could
able to
actually
break
could
that.
break that this season.
Yeah, you should.
He's got 3 games to do it.
Isn't he? He is a senior.
Yeah, he's going out this year.
I think he might get drafted.
He's entering.
He might at least
Yeah,
sign someone.
he's already been recruited. Like people are scouting him already.
Yeah, people are looking.
That'd be pretty cool if he makes it somewhere.
And then even Mark Murtha was being looked at too. Which Tom Compton actually ended up
He's done
playing.
good.
Yeah,
He played this last game
He
with
did.
Washington. I heard his name on the air.
I didn't realize
For
Joe
those of you
Glenn's
that
been
are
coaching
looking
for so long.
yeah.
A lot of places.
So for those
26
of you that are
years.
looking for the future of USC football, there's only 3 games remaining. Montana this week, which is the home game. It will be at 1 p.m. in the Dakota Dome, so
So
go
you
and
get
support
tickets.
your Coyotes. South Dakota State is next week, another 1 p.m. game
Today was
again
last
in the
day.
Dakota Dome, so be sure to go and
I can go
support
to the
them
Dome
there.
and get a
So North Dakota State is our final game, and that is actually in Fargo, so unless you want to travel to Fargo for whatever reason.
Those sold out so fast.
Oh.
Downer. I looked.
I need
Unless
the
you know
SDSU game. I'm worried about that one.
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on that one.
That's the state game.
I'm.
It's South Dakota
I'm gonna
Corn
watch that
Series
game.
too.
Well,
you know,
I-
we're having that whole corn series of.
I get to work 2 games in a row, guys.
I don't know. I asked Joey to give me a press pass, so I guess we'll see.
Oh, we can get that situated.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to be able to go
But
to the game.
let's
Yeah,
move on
definitely.
to volleyball.
Alrighty.
So our volleyball team, the last time we talked, so they were taking on the state series at home. They won both of those. South Dakota State, they won 3-1, and North Dakota State actually also won 3-1. But recently, this week, the 5th, which was Tuesday, they lost to Iowa State 3-0 in the MCAA. So they did lose to a quality team in Iowa State.
Iowa State's good.
So, looking on that, their record is now 18-9. I believe they are once again at the top of the Summit League. I will look that up really quick while you guys talk about the state series.
Yeah, state series, I kind of was expecting them both to beat them because SDSU is a bottom-tier team in the Summit League, and NDSU is just right above them. They really don't have a whole lot of offense. They don't have quality players this year. They're just a down season, so I expected to sweep.
Yeah, our team's pretty stacked. So.
You're talking against
The state series.
yeah, we're going both.
Yep.
By sweep, you mean just winning both.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like we did
Sweeping the
sweep,
state, it's
technically
the state
sweeping.
series.
Yeah.
So.
It was a 3-1 victory in both parts. In South Dakota, it's actually tied with IUPUI at the top of the ranks, 9-2.
This is going to be an interesting stretch, too, because they're all on the road.
They're all
They
on
have-
the road, and
and
they're
they
kind
all-
of all
yeah.
over the place. On the plus side, there is some space, like time between them. So it's not like we play Colorado and then Nebraska like the day after. It's
Mhm.
Right.
there's
What
some
about
time for
Omaha?
travel.
We did
You have
sweep
to.
Denver
Nebraska,
last
Omaha,
time.
you got to clarify.
You have to clarify.
It's
'cause
not
there's-
the Cornhuskers.
No, I was just looking at the state, like travel.
Oh.
We
Okay.
did sweep Denver and Nebraska, Omaha last time we played
Previously,
them.
yes, we did.
It's going to be a hard game because our record on the road is under 500. I think we're
Our
3 and
don't we
7.
record
don't we
away is
technically
3-6.
3 and 7.
Denver
Don't
is
we
up
make
there.
the
though.
playoffs relatively regardless. So.
But we still will, but
Well, we just want
having
the higher
one
seed.
is
I think
critical.
as far as this goes, obviously, well, there's 3 sets left.
Three
if we
games.
if we can take 2 out of 3,
Not sets,
No.
matches.
Just
matches.
yeah.
Taking
It's
2
a
out
different word.
2 out of 3 is a good goal for this.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
That'd be good.
Yeah. And 2 of those 3, I think, need to be Denver. Because Denver is tied with us. They're tied
No,
with
1 out of the 2, you mean?
2 out of 3. The matches. There's 3 matches they got
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
They need to win against Denver, I think.
No, what you said was 2 out of the 3 needs to be Denver, and I'm like, that's 1.
When you're talking, you said if they win 2 out of the next 3, it'd be good. One of those 2 teams they need to beat for 2 out of 3 is Denver. You get what I'm
It's
trying to
fine.
say?
Yeah,
No, I get your
It's
statement, just your
fine.
wording was off.
Okay, whatever.
That's-
People understand.
We're good.
Everybody understands Nathan. It's okay. I'm trying to see if I can find the Summit League tournament information.
It's just as to be announced right now.
The basketball one's in
Why?
Sioux Falls. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
they
it's been
always
the
have it in
past
Sioux
2
Falls,
years.
and
Isn't it
they,
that
No,
new
just last
complex they built?
it will be, I think, this year, maybe.
Where is it? Where is the Summit League?
It's
For
always in Sioux
volleyball?
Falls.
For
Oh,
volleyball?
for volleyball, I don't know. I think it's at a neutral location, of course. I know.
Well, yeah.
I don't think it's in Sioux Falls though.
I wouldn't think
But
so.
they say it's to be announced, so I'm pretty sure they probably know where it's going to be at. They just
They
aren't
don't know
telling
at this
us.
point.
They just aren't telling us.
Decided.
Okay, November.
Yeah, it doesn't really say.
It tells me nothing. So when we get that information, we'll be sure to let you know. We'll be sure to cover those games.
Yep.
Sure.
If they're close to us. If they're in Sioux Falls, heck, we can make the trip to Sioux Falls. We've done it before. But if it's somewhere like in Colorado, then we probably won't
Colorado's
make the trip.
worth it.
Well, Summer League Conference tournament.
Yeah.
We're college.
Indianapolis.
Oh, there you go. Indiana.
Like,
wow.
what's confusing about
We're
this?
going there.
Right
Wow.
there.
Indianapolis.
Well, there's a
That's
bunch of Indianapolis or Indiana teams in our conference to be
Okay.
fair.
Yeah.
IUPUI, RPFW.
All the
Yeah.
initial
Yeah.
ones.
Those are the other 2.
Are there only 2?
Yeah.
No. Well, there's 2 out of 8.
Western
so, I
Illinois.
mean, that's
Oh,
close.
Western Illinois.
Is Indiana
It's
State in
close.
there? Indiana
No.
State?
No, they're
The
not.
Sycamores
Summit.
No,
aren't
they're
in
not.
that?
They're
Okay.
in the MVSC.
Oh, MVSC, yeah.
They're not in the Summit. So,
It's in football. We're in the MVSC,
Yeah.
but when it comes to basketball and every other sport,
I
think
just
we're in
wonder
the
if
Summit.
they're in the same boat
Yeah.
as we were. But
so let's talk basketball. It's our last topic is basketball. The men's and
We're
women's
looking
are
forward to
both kicking off their seasons to. Well, the women's start tomorrow. The men's start Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
The women's will play Cal State Fullerton, and the men's will play St. Bonaventure. Again, all of these games will be away until close to the end of November
The
or
Bonnies, they had a
the
run.
beginning of December due to the Dakota Zone being overtaken by turf
That's what
right now.
head coach Joey James said about St. Bonaventure is that they made the tournament 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They're saying that they could beat St. Bonaventure, and talking with Joey James on the GoYotes.com website, kind of previewing the first matchup. He's really liking the production he's getting out of his new faces, out of the freshmen. They're really starting to shape up, and so are the women's too. The women's kind of have their whole preview thing too, and Amy Williams is really liking her new faces too, giving these star players some rest this season because they're going to need them in the long run.
A lot of road games to start the season, though.
That's because football is still going on.
I am a little concerned, though, with just how many new players we have.
I think we have 7.
We had a decent
I think we have 7 for the women's
overall
turnover, basically, and also having an interim head coach there. It just makes me a little nervous. I mean, obviously, we still have a decent chance. It's just a hard test to start the season.
I don't know what you think about this, V, but Joey James said that they are going to be doing a man defense instead of a 2-3 zone. They're going to still incorporate it in there, but they're going more.
Were they 2-3 last year?
Yeah,
it's better if you've got the speed for it. Great.
I like
they said they'll still incorporate it sometimes, but they're mostly going to be
Right. Well, I mean, the zone versus the man always depends on the opponent you're playing and what offense they're running.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're running more of the 3-point shooting offense, you want the zone to kind of break that up. But if they're running, obviously a more spread out offense, you want the man-to-man to cover that more efficiently, especially when you have the big.
But wouldn't you think if they're a 3-point shooting team, wouldn't you want man-to-man? Because
Yes
you're
and no.
Zone
going to
goes
be
against when you penetrate.
It also kind of
but if they're a 3-point shooting team, then
Yeah, you man.
Yeah.
Or you can do both. You can.
It
depends
also
on the
kind
type
of
of
depends
offense.
on
It
your
does.
team too. It depends on your speed.
Right, exactly.
Also.
So that's why we ran the zone
'Cause
last year,
if-
because we didn't have the depth. But we did have the depth.
Yeah, if you have depth where everybody can stay rested and that kind of stuff, then man to man's fine because
Yes.
then everybody's got the speed.
And
but
see,
if you
we've
can't
had-
keep
we've
up with
had that
everybody,
depth.
Unless you're Syracuse.
We've had that
They run the
depth,
zone
but
better than
we
anyone.
just haven't used that depth in past years. But, I mean, for me, it's going to be an interesting transition to see how well they do it. I mean, it'll be obviously to see how well they perform it. But, I mean, I like run and gun defenses. I like trap defenses. I like defenses that really get people moving for the defense.
Louisville.
is that why you yell at us at practice?
Yeah, so I yell at your practice.
move your butts.
Definitely.
Trap, no.
Full court.
Go
Defense,
down low.
Louisville.
The girl is open.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a tough defense.
But I think with our size and with the speed we have with, Boss and Cashbauer and things like that, I think a trap could be very effective and very easily achieved.
The problem with the trap is you can get burned too. Though.
If you don't,
If they pick
if you
it
do
up.
it wrong, not if you do it right, you're not going to get burned. That's why you have practices to do it right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just saying. All right, so if there's no more comments about basketball or USD sports in general,
Nope. I'm.
Go Yotes.
Yep.
James wins the final howl, so he gets to say what he wants.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So it's kind of like a final thought, kind of like around the horn.
No, you're not.
Oh, okay.
It's like FaceTime.
Awesome.
FaceTime.
FaceTime. There you go.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Hashtag
That's
the
That's
final
probably
howl.
trademarked, actually.
No, we have hashtag the final howl, so
Oh
it's fine.
yeah. No, FaceTime's probably trademarked.
So James, the floor is yours.
Wow, I wasn't prepared for this, but something I was thinking of, baseball offseason, as it'll be interesting to see how GMs are going to start dealing with steroid users and how they want to sign them. Because some teams might be more moral than other teams. The Brewers, they don't know. Some speculate they might trade Ryan Braun. Also in baseball, Robinson Cano going for $300 million over 10 years.
It's not happening.
Will he get it? A lot of people speculate no, but we'll find out. And yep,
No.
there's mine.
Just all the no.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yep, there it goes.
So
Boom
that
goes
was
down.
this
No.
I was not ready
week's
for that.
edition of Make Your Point. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the Ustream views we got. If anyone was paying attention, it'll be up on YouTube eventually once I get the Make Your Point page up. But thanks again for listening. Same time, same place next week. We'll see who we can round up for fun guests. Maybe we'll get our hockey expert on because he hasn't been on in a while,
Who's your hockey
surprisingly.
Joe English.
So keep listening to our Thursdays. I'm not entirely sure who is all on Thursdays on Cat Radio, but I'm sure it's wonderful things, and you should stay tuned
Breakdown.
on
The breakdown with
91.1
Brandon
Coyote
and.
Radio.
Okay,
Anyway,
whatever.
I took everybody off when I put James on. So like, I don't care. We're just going.
Okay, so how do you shut this off?
I should have gave
Hit stop.
Pink Hippo.
I'll do
Stop
it.
rec-
It's fine.
Stop.
I can do it
You can save it. Stop the recording.
Okay, first.
Okay.